combined meeting. This is the King County Levy Court's weekly meeting. This is King County Administrative Complex at 555 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware. This is Tuesday, July 19, 2022. Our Levy Court Chambers, room 203. Before I officially open the meeting, I'll turn it over to the County Administrator to explain how those join us by phone and or WebEx can communicate with us.
Mr. President, I was just informed that we made technical difficulty. WebEx, I don't know if Mr. Kennedy has any further information on that.
Right. Yeah, at this point, we are streaming the proceedings live on YouTube. Our WebEx platform was down when I logged on this morning. This evening, that it did indicate that there was some trouble, and then we went off, and we haven't been able to get back on. So we'll be able to figure that out in the coming weeks. But as far as tonight is concerned, we'll be unable to take participants joining either online or by phone, but they can view the YouTube stream.
Yeah, understood. Okay, this is our business meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. I ask Commissioner Howell to lead us in invocation. Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Buxton. Moment of silence for our troops and first responders. Commissioner Sweeney. And this time, all rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for being in our midst tonight. We ask you to guide us in all of our decision-making tonight. Pray that we will all live in peace and just reflect on your goodness. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our military, law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, and other first responders who have lost their lives in the line of duty protecting and fighting for our freedoms. We also honor all first responders and medical staff who have succumbed to COVID-19 virus complications contracted through close interaction with infected patients, losing their lives caring for others. With the Omicron BA.5 variant being identified as the most contagious variant of the coronavirus yet, infections and resultant death are on the increase again. As of today, more than 1,020,490 Americans nationwide, 3,008 here in Delaware, and 666 right here in Kent County have lost their lives. Please remember all of these individuals who died in the line of duty, as well as keeping their families in your thoughts and prayers as they deal with the loss of their loved ones. Deputy Sheriff Jeff Hermanson from the Saunders County Sheriff's Office, Nebraska. Sergeant Richard Lopez from the Avapai County Sheriff's Office, Arizona. Reserve Officer Jeffrey Richardson from the Poteet Police Department in Texas. Deputy Sheriff Bradley Johnson from Bibb County Sheriff's Office in Alabama. Captain Ralph Frazier from the Prestonsburg Police Department. Deputy Sheriff William Petrie from the Floyd County Sheriff's Department, and Police Officer Jacob Chaffins from the Prestonsburg Police Department, all in Kentucky, all killed in the same shooting. Sergeant John Williams, Coralville Police Department in Iowa, Police Officer Lauren Courts from the Detroit Police Department, Under Sheriff Larry Corrin from the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Fred Beers, also from Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, both killed in an airplane accident, along with Deputy Sheriff Michael Levinson. Police Officer Brian Olaf from the Natchitoches Police Department in Louisiana. K-9 Odin from the Virginia State Police. K-9 Cannon from the Fountain Valley Police Department. K-9 Drago from the Floyd County Sheriff's Office in Kentucky. Chief William Halstead from the Sandy Hook Volunteer Fire and Rescue in Newtown, Connecticut. Captain Brian Falk from the Kern County Firefighters, Local 301, and firefighter Aiden Agnor from the Kern County Firefighters, Local 301 in Bakersfield, California, and firefighter Austin Duran from the Apopka Fire Department in Florida. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sweeney. Can we have roll call, please, so we can determine quorum?
Mr. Angel?
Present.
Mr. Buxton?
Present.
Mr. Hall?
Present.
Mr. Howell?
Here.
Mrs. Maston?
Present.
Mr. Sweeney?
Here.
Mr. Pepper?
Here.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Need a motion on adoption of the agenda for this evening.
So move, Mr. President.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Howell. Unless there's a question, can we have roll call, please, on the motion?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. This evening's agenda has been adopted. The next item on the agenda has been crossed out. We have several presentations this evening. First one is flag collection box presentation by Eagle Scout Smith Easton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm very pleased to present this item before Levy Court this evening. You see in the front of the room we have this beautiful flag retirement collection box that's been handcrafted by a local young person who approximately 2 years ago earned his Eagle Scout, and this was an Eagle Scout project. Before we invite Mr. Easton to address Levy Court, perhaps we can meet him down front here with the box. I'd like to read his bio into the record. Each of the commissioners did receive this over the weekend in your packet, but I think it would be nice for the audience to hear this as well. So this is the bio for Mr. Smith Easton, Eagle Scout. Smith Easton began his scouting journey in September of 2009 as a Cub Scout, working his way through the ranks and ultimately achieving his Arrow of Light Award in 2014. Along the way, he attended several resident camps at Camp Henson and earned many belt loops, Webelos pins, and activity badges. Smith crossed over into the Boy Scouts in May of 2014. While a Boy Scout, he attended multiple resident camps at Camp Rodney, and in July of 2017, he went on a national jamboree at the Summit Bechtel Reserve in West Virginia. Smith held various troop leadership positions, such as the chaplain's aide, assistant patrol leader. He completed his Eagle Scout project, the U.S. Flag Retirement Collection Box that's before us, in November of 2020. And he completed his Eagle Scout board review and the final steps in achieving Eagle Scout Award in February of 2021. In addition, Smith completed 15 merit badges in addition to the 21 required to earn the Eagle Scout Award, which earned him the bronze, gold, and silver Eagle Palms. Smith graduated from Caesar Rodney High School in June of 2021 as valedictorian of his class. While at Caesar Rodney, he was a member of the National Honor Society, the Delaware Department of Education Scholars Program. He also participated in various clubs such as the Future Farmers of America, Tabletop Gaming, and Latin. Smith was a member of the yearbook production staff as club editor and was also a member of the indoor and outdoor track and field and cross-country teams, earning his varsity letter. During high school, Smith also held various leadership positions within the Latin Club. Smith Easton is currently attending Delaware Valley University in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, majoring in zoo science. He is an honors program student, is a member of Alpha Lambda Delta Honor Society, and was on the dean's list for both semesters his freshman year, which he just completed, maintaining a 4.0 grade average. Smith's also active in the Delaware Valley Apiary and rock climbing clubs, and during the summer, Smith is currently working as an intern at Brandywine Zoo in Wilmington, and in the fall, he will be a resident assistant at Delaware Valley University. He plans to further his education beyond his bachelor's degree and aspires to have a career within a zoo profession in the years to come. And he has a special interest in invertebrates and birds. And Smith enjoys traveling to national parks, and he's been to 47 states. And he's a fine young man. He's here with us today, and I'd like to invite Smith down to address Levy Court, and let's give him a good welcome.
Good evening. My name is Smith Easton, as you heard, and I am from Troop 154, previously charted by the Knights of Columbus and currently charted by Holy Cross. Also with me tonight from my troop is Richard Kozier, who is the charter organization rep. I'm here this evening to gift my Eagle Scout project, as you mentioned, the U.S. flag retirement box, to the Kent County community. I designed this box using AutoCAD software programming in my architecture class in high school, and it is approximately 4 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and with a depth of 2 feet. The project took approximately 120 hours, including the assistance of 11 volunteers, and cost around $150 to construct as a result of the generosity of many local businesses helping discount some of the items. For more than 1 year, the flag box has been at the Army-Navy store in downtown Dover, but due to its size, the business owner requested that I relocate it. Thank you to the Kent County Commissioners and Administrator for accepting this community asset and allowing this facility to become its new permanent home. I trust that it is in good hands and that the future scouts from Troop 154 will periodically collect the worn and tattered flags and retire them with dignity and honor. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Smith, don't go anywhere.
Terry?
Thank you very much for this, presenting this to us. We've already decided that we're going to put it to use in this building. And I think when people come in, they'll see that, and I think they'll be proud of it, that we are displaying it here, just like we're proud to receive it from you. You've done a fantastic job. I can tell from the lock on the back there and the small door to the opening on front with the label on front, and the way you've decorated, I think you put a lot of thought into this, and we'll proudly display it here in this building. So thank you very much, and best of luck to you.
Yes, and what a mentor for the caliber of students that are coming forth. Just listening to your bio, wow, you went 14 above the 21 required for your Eagleship. That is amazing. And all I can say is not a lot of people will take that initiative, but thank you for doing it, and God bless you.
Congratulations on a job well done, and continue to reach for the stars. I'm sure you can achieve it.
Fantastic job. Way to represent the Rider Town. Keep it up. And great job.
Smith, congratulations. This is fantastic. Many people don't know how to retire an American flag. As being a member of the Ruritan, we've retired many flags on Flag Day, and people don't understand that they have to be ceremoniously retired through a ritual burning. And I think that's what you and your Cub Scouts staff that come and pick this up or that will do. I've had the opportunity to sit on a few Eagle Scout inquiries. Just 2 weeks ago, I had two. And let me just say something for those of you who have looked at kids and said, what is wrong with our kids today? Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with our kids today. The young men and women that I've dealt with through the Eagle program and through sports are like Mr. East today. They're out there. They're doing great things, and I'm hoping that one of them's ready to step in and take my place on Levy Court, because that's the quality of kids who are coming up through this thing. But they also have great leaders who lead them for years and years and years on their projects. They have parents who help them, family members, sometimes siblings who work on the projects with them, and they become leaders through these projects. So congratulations, and thank you very much, and good luck.
Yeah, I concur. Congratulations. Thank you very much for this donation to the county. As a veteran who's actually had to deal with this before and not sure what to do, it was this is great to have here. So really appreciate it.
I agree. You're obviously an accomplisher, and you're a winner, and you're a very good example. And we're very glad to have you here. Thanks for coming tonight.
Well, Smith, a lot of great comments. I agree with them all. You know, when we talked about this, had some concept in my mind, but you blew away my expectations with this. And every time I see you, I think you're a little taller. I mean, what are you feeding him? His parents are here, Mike Easton and Shannon Easton. Shannon's down front. And I know they're very proud of your accomplishments as well. So there's a nameplate on the front that kind of tells, you know, about the origin of this, that it was your Eagle Scout accomplishment and representing Troop 154. And that'll stand in this building down in the lobby. And so we're very proud of that. So congratulations. Thanks very much for donating it to the county. I know it'll get a lot of great use. So congratulations. Thanks.
Can we let his Scoutmaster?
I just want to say I've known Smith for many years. Our families have been friends. Our daughters went to school together. And the years that I've been involved with scouting, it's always an honor and privilege watching Scouts grow from early days of Cub Scouts to Eagle Scout. And Smith has always been one of those Scouts that the other Scouts look up to and his parents can be very proud of. So, Smith, thank you again for your efforts in putting together this project.
Now it's your turn.
I didn't really have anything else, but I just wanted to say thank you for kind of giving this box a place that we'll be able to stay for years to come.
Okay, great. Thank you. Put this down.
Go with her, Larry. Very nice. We're just going to read them and go back up and do the employee of the month first. Okay, the next item on the agenda, number 2 and 3, we'll do those last. Item number 4, employee of the month for August of 2022.
Lori, can we have that read into the record?
Kent County Department heads have selected Ashley E. DeCento from the Department of Public Safety as the August 2022 Employee of the Month. Ashley has been a Kent County employee since December 2015 and holds the position of Paramedic 2. Her primary duties include responding to emergency medical calls to treat patients using advanced emergency care procedures. She also serves as a field training officer with additional responsibilities for training paramedic students assigned to her shift through practical experience in all aspects of medical care delivery in accordance with established protocols, guidelines, written or verbal instructions from physicians. Ashley's commitment as team leader for the critical incident stress management response offering, emotional support to paramedics and others involved during their time of need has proven critical. Her prudent use of an emotional support dog, Jasper, brings joy to many during the toughest of times. According to Kent County Director of Public Safety, Colin Faulkner, Ashley's accomplishments and dedication to duty are evident. She has been involved in several programs in the department, and most recently, CISM, or the Critical Incident Stress Management. And of course, Ashley introduced us to her pup, the much-loved Jasper. Thank you, Ashley, for being an outstanding employee and for always going the extra mile every day. Congratulations, Ashley, on the job well done, and she resides in Sussex County. The tribute reads, Kent County Levy Court, August 2022, Employee of the Month, Ashley E. DeCento. On this, the 19th day of July 2022, the Levy Court of Kent County, State of Delaware, does hereby recognize Ashley E. DeCento, Paramedic 2, Field Training Officer, Department of Public Safety, Emergency Medical Services Division, for her exceptional initiative, dedication, and conscientiousness in the delivery of services to the citizenry of the county.
Okay. Chief, would you like to say a few words? And Ashley, you come forward. Your sidekick there. All right, all right. Yeah. Ashley, congratulations on being selected this month as Employee of the Month. Going above and beyond, doing things such as this is greatly appreciated. I know how much your sidekick here means to everybody, and congratulations again. Keep up the good work. He's very distracting, but keep up the good work and keep all the keep up the good work and doing all the great things that you're doing. And if you continue to do things like this, I hope you stay here forever, because we really need things like this to keep up morale and to just ease people's tensions. So thank you very much.
Well, Ashley, what do you charge? I have an 80-pound shepherd, needs some loving like this one here. So, I mean, good grief. Yes, thank you for what you're doing. And believe me, pets are a calming effect for when you need them. And as you can see, when she came by, he came by, we all wanted to reach out to him. So keep up the good work, and thank you.
Congratulations, Ashley, on a job well done. And if you have time, I got a 15-pound Shih Tzu that doesn't mind at all. And you're welcome to him. I'll trade you. Again, thanks a lot for everything.
Hey, well done, show stealer. But make sure you get a picture with the other show stealer, because a few years from now, that one's going to want to know why. So bring them down. I don't know if you're going next or not, but
Well, I guess I am. So what happened here when y'all bent over to touch Jasper? That happens in the department. So you have to visualize all these uniforms bending over when this pup comes running up and down the hall. But Ashley, she's been an excellent paramedic practitioner since day one when she started with us. She's well liked by everybody. Always goes above and beyond. She's been an outstanding FTO for the department, showed great leadership skills in that direction. And more recently, she's headed up the CISM program, Critical Incident Stress Management, which is new to a lot of people. It wasn't around when I was coming up through the ranks. It was pretty much suck it up, and for lack of better terms. But they do great work. And Jasper is part of that. Jasper comes through the department. She circulates through the medics and emergency management back here in the 911 center. And the same reaction that we had here with Jasper is exactly what happens in the department, which tells me that it works. It absolutely works. It's a great stress breaker for difficult days. But anyway, Ashley, thank you so much for what you do. We appreciate it. And we hope you are with us for a long time. So.
Ashley, congratulations. Even without Jasper, we know you would have been here sooner or later. With Jasper, just makes you all that more special. I don't know if you were here tonight when I did my moment of silence. I started a year ago, including K-9 officers. Tonight there were 3. One was killed by gunfire, one by drowning in an attempted rescue, and one by heat stroke. We know how important they are to not only to the staff that Jasper interacts with, but if you're ever out with a patient, Jasper's, is that calming effect. So congratulations on this award and this recognition. Thanks for bringing Jasper into our mix.
Congratulations, well deserved, and you definitely raised the bar for all future Employee of the Month presentations.
Yeah, well, Jasper and you really bring a lot of life to the meetings. We don't have that much entertainment around here. But what breed?
He's a corgi.
Corgi, that's what I thought. Very good. Well, he really seems to be well-mannered. Wish I could get my grandkids to do that. But anyway, thanks for coming. Good seeing you. Right.
Well, congratulations, Ashley. Probably no higher honor than to be recognized by your peers, right? They see what you do every day, and they said, this person is worthy of an award. Congratulations. And thanks for bringing Jasper. Kind of makes me wonder if we shouldn't have a Jasper-like friend here at the county building. What do you think, Sarah? Sarah's saying yes, okay. So we'll have to work on that, but maybe we have a Dog of the Month program too. That'd be cool. So thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right.
$500 for the Dog of the Month too at the end of the year.
All right, so why don't the 2 of you come over here and we'll get some pictures.
That's what I just got that on. T-shirt and flip-flops.
Okay, item 2 is a retirement resolution 3949 for Barbara A. Rapp. Barbara's not here this evening, but we still need to read the resolution into the record and vote on it. So, Lori, can we have you read that into the record, please?
Whereas the retirement of Barbara A. Rapp, an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from her duties as Accountant 2, Department of Finance, presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Barbara A. Rapp as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent express its warmest appreciation and thanks to Barbara A. Rapp for the able and loyal manner in which she performed her public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be her evidence of a right to the pension provided by the Kent County Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the July 19, 2022 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Thank you. This is a resolution, so I do need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Buxton, second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions? Can we have, Mike?
Not a question, but just a comment. Barb's not here, but I just want to, for the record, say that Barb will be missed, and she's a great employee in the Department of Finance. She's about 17 years with us, and just a wonderful, peaceful, nice person, and I'm going to miss her, and I know a lot of people will miss her, and congratulations, Barbara.
Okay, great. Anyone else like to make any comments? Now, can roll call, please.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, and thank you, Barbara, for your service.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. The resolution for Barbara Rapp's retirement has officially been approved by Levy Court. Resolution 3950 is a retirement resolution for Lisa E. Cooper. Can we have that read into the record, please?
Whereas the retirement of Lisa E. Cooper, an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from her duties as Accounting Specialist 2, Department of Finance, presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Lisa E. Cooper as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent express its warmest appreciation and thanks to Lisa E. Cooper for the able and loyal manner in which she performed her public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be her evidence of a right to the pension provided by the Kent County Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the July 19, 2022 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Okay, this too is a resolution 3950. I need a motion, please.
Motion to accept Resolution 3950, the retirement of Lisa E. Cooper.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Mast, second by Commissioner Hall. Anyone like to make any comments?
Thank you, Mr. President. I didn't know Lisa as well as I did Barbara, but I do know that she's a 19-year employee with the county, and she was very successful and, faithful public servant for the county for those 19 years. So we just want to say congratulations, Lisa, on your retirement.
Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, and once again, thank you. Thank you for your service.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, thanks to her service.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Resolution 3950 has been approved for the retirement of Lisa E. Cooper by Levy Court. Okay, we're now about to go into the official part of Levy Court, and before I do, I'm sure a lot of you missed it, but on the doors posted a sign for no cell phones, no eating in the courtroom, and no hats. So can I please ask you to remove your hats and show the respect that you show in any other court? Thank you. Thank you, appreciate that. All right, we'll open the public hearings. First item on the agenda is petition for conditional use requiring site plan approval. Falls under Commissioner Hall. It's application name CS 2203. Turn it over to you and Planning Director.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before we start the hearing, just a word about how the hearings tonight will be conducted. This public hearing is being conducted for the purpose of giving the citizens of the county the opportunity to present testimony on the applications before the Levy Court. Everyone will have a chance to speak. All statements are to be made from the podium at the front of the room. For the record, please give your name and address. Copies of any written statements or exhibits used during the hearing should be presented for identification and inclusion in the record. For each application before the Levy Court, the President will introduce the application. The Levy Court will then receive testimony from all of those in favor. Testimony will then be received from those who may be opposed. After everyone has had an opportunity to speak, the hearing on the application will be closed, and the Levy Court will take what action it deems appropriate. Levy Court's decision will be based upon public hearing testimony given at this meeting and a recommendation submitted to the Levy Court by the Regional Planning Commission. I would ask that that recommendation be included by reference in the permanent record of this meeting established by the Clerk of the Peace. The public notice of this hearing was published in the July 1st, 2022 edition of the Delaware State News. The first application before the Levy Court, CS 2203, is a conditional use site plan for a private school. The site is zoned AR. It is 100 acres on the west side of Victory Chapel Road, north of Forest Avenue, west of Dover. The Regional Planning Commission took testimony at their July 7th hearing, and at their July 14th business meeting voted unanimously to recommend conditional approval, citing that indeed the application meets all of the code requirements for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Okay, as I stated earlier, this is a public hearing. What we do is give the opportunity for those in the courtroom here to come forward and give testimony as to why this should happen or why it should not happen. We'll start off by asking those in favor of application CS-22-03 to please come forward, give your name, address, and be either sworn or affirmed. And those in favor.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Minnick from Minnick Engineering. I'm here representing this application.
Address, sir.
Address is 868 Greenwood Road.
Mr. Minnick, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
We're here to ask the Levy Court for approval of this application. It last week, well, yeah, it was last week, I guess, that the Regional Planning Commission granted an approval to Levy Court, and we're here to ask for approval based on the staff report and meeting the staff report. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have. I have Mr. Yoder here with me if you need to ask him any particular questions about the school itself.
Any questions? Any questions? I'd have one. It's just out of curiosity, nothing else. I know there are several Amish schools in that area. How do you determine which child goes to which school? I seem to see them walking from every which direction, and
it's probably better if Mr. Yoder answers that one.
Yeah, probably. Mr. Yoder, why don't you come up and... Did you plan on doing any testimony, Mr. Yoder, or are you just going to answer my question?
I'm going to answer your question. I'm Eli Yoder. Address is 3039 Pearson's Corner Road, Dover, Delaware. And anyway, how do we determine where they go? We have what we call the upper board. They keep track of how many students are going to which school, and we try to keep it so that it's walkable. But right now, the reason we need this school because we're got too many students in some schools. So they sort of draw the lines. They'll say Victory Chapel Road, Pearson's Corner, Route 8, that area needs to go to this school to try to keep things down to only 40 pupils per school and 2 teachers. So I got elected to do this. I had no idea that I'm into this. I had a phone call the next morning that said, you're elected from the upper board to do this. So I'm here to represent it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for answering my question. Anyone else here in favor of this application? Anyone else here in favor? Okay, at this time I'll ask anyone opposed. Anyone opposed to this application, please come forward. Anyone opposed? Any commissioners have any questions? Mr. Angel.
Excuse my ignorance, but it says in here about parking. Now, coming from a school board president, parking is usually meant for the automobile. I know you have horse and buggies, so I know you have to have a place to park. Will children be able to bring a buggy and horse then also to school? And there's enough there's enough places for the horses to park. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, at this time, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion on application CS 2203.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve application CS 2203, the Amish School Victory Chapel Road.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reasons stated by Commissioner Hall and the RPC approval.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, reasons stated.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, per staff and RPC recommendations.
Mr. Howell?
Yes, reasons stated.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, for all reasons stated, and the Amish community is an important community to Kent County, and appreciate your service.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, for all reasons stated, including the final statement by Commissioner Sweeney.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals application CS-22-03, Amish School Victory Chapel Road has been approved by Levy Court. Thank you and good luck. Okay, next item on the agenda is petitions to amend comprehensive plan, map, and zoning map. It falls under Mr. Buxton, ordinance LC 22-11.
Thank you. Ordinance LC 22-11 is indeed a request to amend the comprehensive plan, future land use map, and the zoning map. The area in question, the area of petition is just under half an acre. The site is on the east side of Bay Road, just south of Poplar Street, north of Milford. It is outside the growth zone. Currently, the site is split zoned, AR, agricultural, residential, and BG, general business. The proposal is to zone the entire site to BG. The Regional Planning Commission took testimony at their July 7th hearing. At their July 14th business meeting, voted unanimously to recommend approval, citing indeed the request is in keeping with the surrounding area. So again, this comes with a recommendation for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Sweet.
Ms. Kiefer, on that picture right there, I'm assuming that the shaded red area is what's already BG?
Correct.
And the yellow area, how was that split like that?
I can't speak to
So it's been that way for a long time?
Yes, this is
Okay.
not new.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on LC 22-11. And as before, I'll ask anyone in the audience who is in favor, please come forward and offer testimony as to why it should be approved. Anyone in favor, please come forward. Seeing no one coming forward, I'll ask at this time, anyone who is opposed to ordinance LC 22-11, please come forward. Anyone opposed? Seeing no one coming forward, any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm prepared to make a motion. Sometimes these things are not complicated, and this appears to be one of those. So I will make a motion to approve ordinance LC 22-11 to amend the zoning map from AR Agricultural Residential and BG General Business to BG General Business, located outside the Growth Zone Overlay District. It's based on Exhibit A staff recommendations, reported date July 7th, 2022, and Exhibit B public hearing testimony for July 7, 2022, and the findings of facts included in your packet.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Buxton, second by Commissioner Masson. Any of the commissioners have any questions? Don't see any. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reason stated by Commissioner Buxton.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, per staff and RPC recommendations.
Mr. Howell?
Yes, reasons stated.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, for all reasons stated, and seeing the number of recent rezonings in that area, I suspect we're not done. My vote's yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, for all reasons stated. No opposition. Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals ordinance LC 22-11 has been approved by Levy Court. Continuing with petitions to amend comprehensive plan map and zoning map, public hearings. Commissioner Buxton, ordinance LC 21-15.
Thank you. Ordinance LC 21-15 is another request for rezoning and comprehensive plan amendment. The site in question is 16.8 acres on the south side of Statenville Road, east of Woodyard Road, southeast of Farmington. Site is currently zoned AR Agricultural Residential. The proposal is to rezone to IL, Limited Industrial. Site is indeed located outside of the growth zone. The Regional Planning Commission originally took testimony at their October 7th, 2021 hearing, and at their June 9th meeting, voted to recommend denial of the request, citing that industrial zoning is not compatible with the surrounding area, and the request is not compliant with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. So again, this comes with a recommendation of denial. I am happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Kiefer? See none? Thank you. Okay, this too is a public hearing, ordinance LC 21-15. Open the public hearing, and I'll ask any of those that are in the audience in favor of this to please come forward, give your name and address, be sworn or affirmed, and offer testimony as to why you are in favor of this.
Mr. President, my name is John Weaver. My address is 831 North Tatnall Street. I'm an attorney. The principal behind Snake Creek is quite emotional about this and asked me to appear on his behalf and give testimony with regard to this particular change in the zone.
No need to swear you, Mr. Weaver. You're a Delaware lawyer. Proceed, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. President, commissioners of the Levy Court, I've lived in Delaware all my life, and I find history to be most instructive of what goes on in any county here in the state of Delaware. So I'd first like to tell you a little bit of history with regard to the property. This property is currently being used as a facility for dirt bikes. The recreational facility was initiated in 1993. So this is not something that snuck up on this Levy Court, or nobody was trying to hide anything. It's been in use for 29 years. The user of the recreational facility is dirt bike runners. They are enthusiasts who are more likely to not to be younger, but I think you will see here today that the age of those who participate runs the gamut from, I'm told, from 4 or 5 years of age all the way up to people in their 60s. The current owner is Snake Creek LLC. It was purchased by Snake Creek approximately 2 years ago. So again, this is not something that Snake Creek devised or tried to foist on Kent County or the community that surrounds it. It was as it was for 27 years before it was purchased. The principle behind Snake Creek, and the reason why I'm here and the reason why I'm speaking, was a Vincent Gosto. I've spoken to him on the phone. He bought the property because he was a former dirt bike enthusiast, and he did not want to see the facility lost. He understood that it was being sold, and he purchased it so that the use by dirt bikes would continue. He wanted to have something that the community enjoys to last and continue, and he wanted to preserve what he feels is an integral part of this community. He was more interested, he tells me, he was more interested in doing something that brought joy rather than making money. And he tells me there are no profits being made here, okay? I understand that the commissioners here have a standard of review. He asked me to go over that with you. And the standard of review is found within the code. And the first standard of review talks about whether the character of the neighborhood has changed to such an extent that the zoning map should be changed. And his response would be that the neighborhood has changed. It has accepted this use for 29 years. There have been no complaints for approximately 27 of those 29 years. It has existed, it has brought joy to the community, it has become an integral part of the community. The second standard of review is whether or not the proposed change will result in consistency among the zoning classification to which the property is subject. He would tell you that he has zero plans to do anything else but permit dirt bike enthusiasts to come and enjoy themselves. That's why he bought the property, so that that use would continue. And in an AR zone, a recent jurist once said that the AR zone was created to provide for a wide variety of farming while also providing for low-density residential development to foster environmentally sound development and serve as a transition buffer zone between agricultural and residential uses. You just described the perfect spot to put a dirt bike facility, and that's where it resides currently. The third tenet that you all have to consider is whether the transportation facilities, water and sewer system, storm draining system, schools, and fire suppression facilities are adequate. He would argue that, first off, there is a tax ditch that surrounds the property, and topographically, it's the lowest part of this particular community. There are no issues with regard to storm drainage. There is a building on the lot, but it does not serve this use. The building has its own water and it has its own sewage, and so therefore nothing new is required. The property is not residential, so it will not burden school populations. The final tenet that you're asked to consider is there compatibility between the uses of the property as zoned currently and the surrounding land uses so as to promote health, safety, welfare of the present and future residents of the county. The property is absolutely compatible in that it has existed in the community as a good neighbor for 29 years. There has not been one health or safety concern in those 29 years. And finally, Vincent would like you to know that there is no need for this zoning change other than to permit him to continue to go forward with the use of dirt bikes on these premises. And he would be willing to sign any document to so limit it to only dirt bike usage as it has been done for the last 29 years. I appreciate your attention.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions from commissioners? Seeing none, thank you, sir. This time, anyone else in favor, please come forward. Anyone else in favor?
Hello, I am Zach Klaptowski. I am from 696 Statenville Road, Harrington, Delaware.
Sir, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, could you please spell your last name for the record?
Are you ready? Klaptosky.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and talk as clear as I can. I just got out of surgery. So I've been living at Snake Creek for the past 2 years. I am the track manager. I am on the property 24/7, 365, sometimes 366 days of the year. I kind of keep an eye on what's going on the entire time. We are just trying to continue to do, as he stated, the exact same thing that we have been doing. Snake Creek has been my home since 2009. I came down here and kind of never really left. And it serves a huge part in my life and a lot of other people's lives here. I try to be a very good impact on the local community as well as the dirt bike community throughout the area. You'll see a lot of the people that have came to talk tonight are local people from on the street, for us, some against us, and I thank everyone for coming to talk. We have a few people from outside of the area as well, and Snake Creek as well means a lot to them, as it did to me when I came from outside of the area to Snake Creek. And the area, the community, the quietness, it just kind of attracted me, and I never wanted to go back anywhere else. I'm willing to work with all of you, all of the neighbors in opposition, and I would like to continue to use it as we have been using it. And like I said, we are willing to do pretty much whatever it takes to continue to do this and try and make everyone as happy as we possibly can within the community, outside of the community, and just keep on the motocross alive there, which it is the only remaining track in Delaware. And it's a labor of love because I end up losing money every week, and I would do it whether I was spending money to do it or making money to do it. I would still do it the exact same way I have been doing it. And as stated earlier, we have no intentions of doing anything other than what we are doing there currently. And I would like to hear everyone else's statements on this, and hopefully you guys can consider a way to keep us going. And I really appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to do so and working with us up till now, and hopefully we can continue, and hopefully we can form some sort of good relationship with everyone in the room and everyone in the community, and we can keep it going. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your time.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions? Commissioner Sweeney?
Thank you, Mr. President. Zach, a question for you. In all the years that you've been there, have you ever received any complaints from any public officials or visits by state police or anybody concerning noise or parking or traffic or anything like that?
There has been one time we had someone park on the road, near the road. We try really hard. Our lane, as you can see, is very, so pretty much the property line is the lane. The farm fields are people's way of feeding their animals and making money. So we very well ensure no one goes in there. There has been a few times where someone gets a little wild and does that, and we've ejected them immediately. The one time there was someone parked next to the road, and we made them leave as well. Like I said, I would make people leave and let them know that they are in the wrong, just to keep as much of good relations with our neighbors. And as far as that, there hasn't been anything other than that, of my knowledge, that has been in a negative way.
So no noise complaints, no...
I've never had a noise complaint.
Nobody protesting at the end of the driveway during the motocross race, or?
No. We very rarely do any type of racing. It's more of a training and practice facility. It's not the biggest facility to do, a full-on race. There are some other track owners here who do a lot of the racing stuff, and our facility is almost entirely too small to do any type of big events or races like that. So it's mainly just a practice and training facility for kids of all ages. We offer lessons and that from the age of 4 to the age of 70. Some of our riders are in their 70s. So
do you have any self-imposed hour restrictions?
Our hours are, sorry, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 4, 4 o'clock, no one's riding. During the week, there is sometimes, when I'm able, I ride during the week as much as I can, because on the weekends I don't really get to ride because I'm taking care of everyone else. So generally during the week, it's me, a couple of friends, and every now and then, now that it's summer, we'll have a couple kids throughout the entire week training, but it rarely goes past 4 o'clock.
So for 20 some odd years, you guys have been a good neighbor.
Yes, I would say it was a little more loose and lenient before we acquired it, and now I'm just trying to, keep a good relationship with my neighbors and do the best I can to coexist with everyone.
And no chance for this land to ever be farmland.
You got to cut down some trees.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the aerials, and there's a lot of trees. In
Yeah,
the
it's
area.
all mostly trees. The jumps were built with stumps and everything, so they don't really move too easy. It's a little bit of dirt on top of a lot of junk, to say nicely. But I don't think it could be, a full-size field as is in front of us unless we were to clear cut it, and we really have no intentions of clear cutting it or doing anything like that, because I personally love the woods and I love the trees and I love where I live, and I don't like when anyone breaks a branch, let alone cuts down the trees, because that's my thing. Semi-tree hugger.
Nice. Thanks. I have a question for Ms. Kiefer. Sarah? So many of the opposition communication that we received had to do with noise. Has there been any studies done in that area concerning noise?
Not that I'm aware of.
So none have been done. So how much does noise drop off over distance? Do you know? Is there?
I don't. It's going to depend on the area conditions, the type of noise.
Some of the addresses of those that in opposition were Harrington and Greenwood. And I realize that's a large area that has a lot of coverage by the post office, but it just seems like there's not much around this property at all, as far as looking at it from the aerial. But we've not received any complaints from anybody around.
No, we absolutely started receiving complaints. That's why our department got involved.
Okay. Do you know what kind of complaints? How many?
I don't know how many. Certainly it was noise. And that's what started it. The use is simply not permitted in the zoning district.
Right.
That's why the application is for a rezoning. If the rezoning is successful, they would have to follow up with a conditional use application.
And if it's not successful?
The use is not permitted.
So they have to be shut down?
Yes.
Which would be a shame. Thanks.
Ms. Keefe.
Yes.
And Commissioner Sweeney. And Zach, I appreciate you, man. So I know you're dealing with stuff, man. You can have a seat.
I would like to add that we did have a sound study done. I don't know where the ball was dropped, but we've had a sound study done, and it's been done for over a month, 2 months now. I believe this gentleman has it with him, but we have had a sound study done, and there has been a study. There is a document to it. I'm not sure where it got lost along the way, but it has been submitted somewhere by Greg Scott, was supposed to submit it. I'm not sure if he did or didn't, but it seems that he hasn't. So if that is needed to be seen, we do have that, and we have had that for quite some time now.
And again, you can say
Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question, maybe. Well, the first one to you was application for rezoning. It doesn't end the application for recreational use within reason. So motorcycles or dirt bikes would not be banned. It just they would not be able to operate it as a business.
It could not be a business, that's correct. It could not, and my understanding, pardon me, my understanding is in the past it had been used by the family that lived there. And the use has expanded in the last couple of years.
We're not regulating a property on his property or has friends. Take it to the next level is why we're here. But I want to remind the Levy Court actually why we are here, and that is because of the rezoning. We're not deciding the conditional use tonight, although it's obvious what the use wants to be.
Correct.
But we're looking at an IL zoning is
Correct.
what our issue is. And then I would say that as the commissioner in that district, I have been called to the site over the years. In fact, I've visited the site 3 times, probably, I don't know, 10 years. Just to visit, to eyeball it, to see what the heck the calls are about. And we were able to moderate the issues. Mitigate the issues at those times. So that's not part of the testimony. I'm not trying to tell anybody in this audience what's good and bad. I'm just filling in a gap that Commissioner Sweeney presented, which is it hasn't gone to this level of application. There's a reason why. It's because we want to take the use to a different level, which is fine if that's what they want to try and do. But over the years, yes, there's been a few calls. A lot of calls, no. A few calls, yes.
Okay. Did you have a question? Mr. Angel.
Ms. Kiefer, I'm sorry. Didn't see you walk away. Our comp plan for IL is not in agreement with what they're trying to do. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when it states in here that the rezoning fails to meet all conditions of approval for reclassification under Section 205-408 of our code, there's no possibility then of us moving forth. The way I read that.
Unless Levy Court's analysis is different from the one the planning staff and planning commission did.
Okay.
Levy Court could come to a different conclusion.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sarah, I have a question about the proposed use or existing use. The reason it is seeking IL is because
So it can pursue a conditional use site plan application for a racetrack.
a racetrack. Racetrack is the operative
Yes.
thing, and I wanted to address that because I think that may have been part of what Commissioner Buxton was saying, other recreational type uses, but it's the racing aspect that puts it into the IL.
Correct.
All right, thank you very much.
Consideration that can be made after a decision's made tonight. But the first thing we have to do is to decide on the request for an IL zoning to enable the dirt track to exist according to our rules, our laws. If it's successful, there's nothing we need to adjust. If it isn't successful, then there's considerations to be made, not tonight, but there could be down the road. So there we go. Moving on.
Okay, any other questions? Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll ask this question, anybody that can answer it. There are 4 reasons given by the RPC to deny this. The 4th one says the subject site does not fall where transportation facilities, water and sewage systems, storm drain systems, and fire suppression facilities are available or planned. I thought the attorney had alluded to there were some sewer services there. I don't know.
There are no sewer services. I believe what the attorney testified to was that drainage is not a concern on the site. Staff's position and the Planning Commission's position is that infrastructure is simply not in place in that area of the county to support an IL zone.
Mr. President, could I clarify what I said?
Briefly.
Briefly. The house has its own mound system. That's the sewerage that I was referring to. And it has its own well. Okay? Thank you.
I would also like to chime in on the sewage system. We also have porta potties on site for everyone to use. We plan on a bigger weekend, there is more porta potties brought out and brought in. Porta potties are the main use at almost every track across the country. Very few tracks have permanent bathhouses on there, so it has no impact, as far as I'm concerned, on any of the ground or anything, because we all use porta potties, and they're very clean. They come out sometimes twice a week to clean them. So,
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, anyone else in the audience in favor? Anyone else in the audience in favor? Please come forward, state your name, address, and sworn or affirmed.
Good evening. Michael Schock, 21 Wilder Road, Dover, 19904.
Mr. Schock, do you swear or affirm, sir, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Not only do I teach at Dover High, and also I'm on council for Town of Camden. For 15 years, I ran a program. Actually, it was 26 years I ran the program, but 15 years I ran it at Snake Creek. It was a off-road highway safety program. It was called NIPM, National Youth Project Using Mini Bikes. It was sponsored by Honda, and it was run out of our local YMCA. It was a good behavior program, very effective for keeping kids in school. I appreciate Mr. Buxton being out there and actually eyeballing the place. Mr. Davis, Paul Davis, and two other, are they councilmen? I'm not sure, commissioners, were out there on numerous occasions also. And, dirt bikes are noisy, but, it's not that loud to where anybody should be offended if you're out there. When I first came to Delaware with my parents in '68, Dover Air Force Base was the only place around that you could actually go ride a motorcycle off-road. And then that closed down. Harrington Fairgrounds had one for a few years, and that closed down. And if you can't go to Snake Creek, you're going to travel at least an hour. Every kid is going to be, their parents are going to be traveling at least an hour to get to another dirt bike track. I see the owners of Budds Creek are here. He's 2.5 hours away from here. New Jersey, you're at least 2.5 hours and about 1 hour and 45 minutes away from another track. So, even if, like Mr. Buxton was saying, even if it doesn't meet the uses, the opportunity for kids and adults to use this track, I really don't want to see it ever go away. So, thank you.
Any questions from commissioners? Thanks, sir.
I want to say hello to the Levy Court and the people of Kent County, Delaware. My name is Jay Ezra Beasley. My address is 27963 Budds Creek Road, Mechanicsville, Maryland, 20659.
Sir, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Jay, could you please spell your last name?
Beasley. So I own the premier dirt bike track in the Mid-Atlantic, Budds Creek Motocross Park. We have a lot of open practice days, similar to what Snake Creek does. I've been down to their facility several times myself. I'd like to testify that they're a very professional, well-run facility. And the boys, Zach, Vinny, Chris, Cody, they all do a great job. They really focus on rider safety. First, I'd like to say that I feel like motocross is a great activity for our community. It brings families together and teaches kids a lot of values that they can't learn, or they can learn, but it becomes increasingly less likely in today's society. So I think motocross is a great thing for the community as a whole. I know my track, we do great things for our local economy as well. We, on an open practice day, I estimate we bring in almost $10,000 to our local economy. I know noise has been a big issue here, specifically someone that's into hunting. He's worried about the noise from the facility will scare his deer away. The AMA, the American Motorcyclist Association, is working with the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, to drop sound decibel restrictions even lower here by 2025, so bikes will just get quieter. Hunting wise, I know deer are plentiful in my neck of the woods. I'm between 3 racetracks. At my facility, there's a drag strip, which is car racing, a stock car track, as well as an ATV park. The property between us and the ATV park, directly adjacent to both of us, has a group that hunts that every fall. I believe it's a guy that has about 6 buddies that he goes hunting with, and so it's plentiful grounds for all of them. And my neighbor, David Novak, he had an exclusive right to hunt the drag strip of the early 2010s. I believe it was 2011 to 2014. In those years, he killed over 20 deer at the drag strip, so that is on their property. I'll leave you with this. The Motocross of Nations is the biggest race in our sport here. Every year it pulls in 40,000 fans. It goes to a different track in a different country every year. At the 1994 Motocross of Nations in Rogenburg, Switzerland, a deer ran onto the track and hit the leader, a South African rider named Greg Albertine. So that just goes to show you the deer, they don't care about the noise. They're willing to run into a facility with 40,000 fans, let alone screaming 2-stroke dirt bikes, which are louder than the dirt bikes we have today. So I believe that the noise will not be an issue for wildlife, and I will testify that. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Sweeney.
Mr. Beasley,
Yes, sir.
a question for you. So I'm looking at Budds Creek. You offer formal racing there, correct?
Yes, sir, but I believe that is not the plan
Right.
for Snake Creek. They just want to do practice, but I will not speak for them.
Okay, so Mr. Buxton, just, I need to understand that without approval today for the rezoning to IL, they're still going to be able to have their friends come over and race at Snake Creek, right? According to what you described.
So I've been familiar with this property for a long time as the commissioner. We've got a couple developments as the crows fly that are relatively close by, and then you have evidence in your packet of folks that live nearby that have expressed concerns. We've been able to deal with it because it's been modest in use and somewhat infrequently, or infrequent. So that's been able to keep everybody accepting the behavior over X amount of years. The difference now is that we, rightfully so, the new owners have a bigger vision, which is fine. It's an awesome track. It's fantastic. But that bigger vision creates bigger crowds, bigger events, bigger noise, and they're operating as a business. They're collecting funds, rightfully so, to pay for the operation. But when you do that, it's now a business. And we have to follow our laws. When somebody calls it in, no good deed goes unpunished is really what went down for 29 years. We went out of our way to try not to be involved because I don't want to take away the rights of property owners. But it's gotten to a point now where we are where we are. The only path forward is the IL zoning currently. This whole thing's been messy. How it was handled in the RPC and all that, it's been messy. But we're here now, so we've got to make a decision tonight on whether or not we want to rezone it to IL. If you do, you cure the problem. If you do that, then conditional use is in front of us, and then you can control hours, noise, and everything else. My concern, obviously, is what they said earlier, which is this property's changed hands numerous times. It's not being run as a profitable business. It's being run as a labor of love. Eventually, the love dies off, and now you've got IL zoning for sale in the middle of nowhere. That's a concern you have to consider as we're listening tonight. I didn't want to get into that this early because we've got a lot of testimony, and I think that we're jumping ahead of those folks. I think in fairness to the folks that have showed, both for and against, less testimony from us and more listening to them right now is probably the best thing to do. So but I'll answer any questions. I don't want to hijack the meeting.
Thanks, Mr. Beasley.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else in favor, please come forward. Now, what I'm going to do, it appears there's a lot of folks here that want to testify both for and against. As we go along, some of the testimony is going to get repetitive. So if someone comes up before you and says exactly what you were going to say, and it's not really necessary that you come up and say the same thing again, what I'll do near the end is ask who's here in favor, and then likewise I'll do the same thing for those that are opposed, and ask for show of hands. That way the folks can be recognized that came here tonight to support or be against it, but they don't have to say the same thing over and over again for us to get the point. So with that being said, go ahead, sir.
All right, my name's Tris Vendetti. I live at 696 Statenville Road. I live at the track. I'm the full-time trainer there.
Sir, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Chris, could you please spell your last name for me?
V-E-N, V as in Victor, V-E-N-D-I-T-T-I. V-E-N-D-I-T-T-I. Good. All right, so me being at Snake Creek, I kind of just came here for 2 weeks, actually, and I got to the property and I fell in love with it, and I've been there for over a year and a half now. And my big thing is I'm actually a professional racer, and I like to see kids pursue their dreams. And me getting to work with the younger generation is it's really, really cool. I get to see everyone progress, and I get to see kids being safe and learning the proper way to ride a dirt bike. It's not just getting on it and twisting the throttle. It's actually the most physically demanding sport in the world. If this place got taken away from all these kids, you got 7-year-old kids out there that get to jump their first jump, and just looking at their face light up, it makes you speechless. You're just so happy for the kid for being able to improve. So, I really love this place, and I really care about it, and I hope you guys make the right decision for us.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Vendetti? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Not a very good speaker. First, my name's Scott Pepper. How you doing, Mr. Terry Pepper? I live on 473 Booth Branch Lane, Greenwood, Delaware.
Sir, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
I'm 2 miles away from the facility, as the crow flies, 7 miles in a vehicle. I don't think there's anyone here that put the time into that place with Don Wall when he purchased this facility in 1993. If we were to go there, I can tell you where we started out with shovels. And then I can tell you when the man purchased his first dozer quit, he bought a little John Deere tractor. Every day we're out there with shovels and rakes. I don't want anything to see happen to the facility either, because of what the lawyer said. I don't want to repeat what everyone has said. Is there is only one facility left in Delaware. The other one was in Sussex County, which was Middle Fort Speedway. Tom Morris was the original owner of that. And then you had Blue Diamond, which was in Kent County, which was Blue Diamond. And neither one of those facilities are around anymore. And I had part at both Middle Fort Speedway and Seaford. I had hands in with Alan DiCarlo in Wilmington. Mr. Jonathan Beasley back here, I've done work for him, never got paid. Turn the water pump off. Turn the water pump off when I tell you to turn the water pump off. So those guys are from the Western Shore. And Mr. Beasley's been around a long time. And I can speak about a lot of things because I've been involved in the sport since 1990. And I've originally gave the sport up in 2015. My friend Don Wall passed away in 2015, the man that started this facility. And he started for a little boy, about 8 years old, like a few of these kids back here. And a lot has happened in the facility from my aspect with my labor and love in the place. Since it was purchased in 2020, I think I've been there 2 times just to say hello to the people and pay my respects. I can just go on and on and on. Like you said, you don't know about the districts. There's a lot of stuff involved in this sport. Just like the Boy Scout that was here. There's different youth programs, just like our ball fields up here on the highway, beautiful fields for baseball, lacrosse, soccer. That's a youth program. It's not an adult program, but it's a place for the youth to grow up. This here is a good place for the youth riders to start and move on to Budds Creek, where they can go race. Or if they want to go to Pennsylvania, North Carolina, the circuit is huge to the United States. For our little home state of Delaware, this is it. Snake Creek on Statonsville Road. It's gone. There's nowhere else to ride in Delaware unless I build something on my little 4 acres, and then my neighbors can complain about the noise. It's no different than Georgetown, which is, I know, not Kent County, it's Sussex County. They race there occasionally on Friday and Saturday nights. Those neighbors have to put up with that noise also. Middle Ford Speedway, same thing. Different county, not Kent County, Sussex County, same thing. Neighbors complain. Oh, there's going to be someone that's never satisfied with the facility. I've not really known the owners across the street from Snake Creek. I know they've had to put up with it for 29 years, and he's, maybe had enough of it. I can see his point. I'm hoping that the new owners can, like you said, continue a good neighborly relationship. I guess I would rather you ask me a question instead of keep on speaking if you have any questions. I can go on and on and on about my 18 years experience at this facility with the original owners that started that.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions for Mr. Pepper?
There is none.
Looks like you made your point.
I made my point. I hope I did. Thank you, sir. Mr. Pepper.
Thank you. Anyone else here in favor? Anyone else here in favor?
My name is Courtney Kochka. I live at 836 Barney Jenkins Road, Felton, Delaware.
Do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Please. K-A-C-Z-K-A.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I am what they call a moto mom or a moto wife. My husband and I are Caesar Rodney graduates and high school sweethearts. At age 18, my husband started, well, he was my boyfriend at that time, but he started to ride dirt bikes and look to race. We're now 56. We've raised 2 children at dirt bike races. My daughter, who is now 27, raced from the time she was 13 all the way through college at University of Delaware until she was 22 and got her big girl job. My son began racing at age 6, and he also raced all the way through college and now works for Century Engineering and also has taken a break. My husband had a brief midlife crisis when the kids stopped racing, but he has gone back and he continues to race the 50-plus senior class, which is one of the largest divisions in the Maryland Mid-Atlantic Race Series. We used to have 3 tracks in the state of Delaware. My husband and I had dates there before we were married. I worked at Middleford Speedway as a scorer for years. And then once we had children, we raised our kids there. Snake Creek was a big part of that. In 2006, Diamond Motorsports hosted a Dirty Diamond dirt bike club for children in the state of Delaware, and that was held at Snake Creek. It was for little girls and boys in the community that weren't your baseball players, weren't your football players, they didn't do soccer, they weren't in the high school sport, but boy, did they need to burn energy. and dirt bikes does that. The family that we have met through racing and dirt bike riding over the years is beyond what you would even understand. The family that's here are people that we've met at the tracks, that we've shared a campfire with, that we've had a casserole dinner with, and that we've taught our kids to set goals, have perseverance, pick yourself up and keep trying if you fall, and that sometimes winning isn't everything. Snake Creek has been a big part of that. Angie Falcone and her husband Rob, that originally created the track, were dear friends of ours. Rob had cancer for about 5 years and still tried every day to go out and work that track and make it the best, safest track he could for those kids. When he passed, his wife, determined woman that I love, kept going. She tried to work that track. She tried to maintain that property herself with the help of some friends and family that the motocross community has. But she was almost 70 when she decided to sell her property. Everyone that rode dirt bikes was devastated and worried. And then Vinny came along. And Vinny had that same passion and that same understanding of family, and that kids sometimes aren't your baseball and football players, but they still need to go out and have what helps them feel successful and that they set goals for. The track has not increased in activity over the years. As a matter of fact, when Vinny purchased it, he kind of had to clean up some overgrown brush, clean up some stuff that had been kind of dumped on the property as the previous couple got older. But it has remained that same footprint. The same number of racers come out as when my child was 12 and 13. We still go there as often as we can, though we travel 2.5, 3, 4, one time even 9 hours to go to a motocross race. Without something nearby local, we don't feed that love for kids that can go on. And I have a feeling you're gonna find that more and more dirt bikes are having to find a new place to ride, a new place that hasn't been set up, doesn't have safety standards, people don't care, or maybe it's your paved streets. Maybe it's the city of Dover, because I've seen it. Our families and our kids really deserve to have this to continue to be here. We need to give them a place to ride that's appropriate, and for 29 years, this has been it. My husband's family is also part of Papin's Farm, which I don't say to name drop, but I say because this whole situation reminds me of the farmer that's had his farm for decades. And all of a sudden, there's a new development, and there's too much dust. And I don't like the watering system. And why are those trucks riding up and down the road and I have to go 20 miles an hour behind them? This is no different. We are taking something that has worked. This isn't a farm property, you can see by the trees. I get the zoning muddiness, but it really is no different than our American farmer being pushed out, because in Delaware, our tracks have been pushed out and Snake Creek is all we have left. So from my family, with my 56-year-old racer and my 2 children who are amazing because they grew up in that community, I ask you to just consider the hundreds of families that also have gone to Snake Creek and will be impacted. Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions from the commissioners? Thank you, Mayor.
Hello. My name is Mike Groves. I'm from Goldsboro, Maryland, just over the state line.
Sir, could you state your address for the record?
27688 Sandtown Road, Goldsboro, Maryland.
Do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mostly I want to piggyback on what Mr. Schock said. You guys are all Kent County commissioners. So in my opinion, I was just at an election in Maryland tonight, and your primary purpose is to serve the people of Kent County. Now, as you see, since 1993, there's been a lot of history made on this track in Kent County with a lot of different people from, not all from Kent County, but, and nowadays, the economy's different than it was back then. It's way different than it was back in 1968 when they were riding dirt bikes at Dover Air Force Base, or in the early 90s when they were riding by the Harrington Fairgrounds. Those places are gone. There's been other places, which he didn't mention, that the sand pits where people used to go ride illegally. Well, it was legal because people went there all the time, but eventually somebody got hurt and it was illegal then. There was just, on my way into this courthouse today, or commissioners meeting, I was passed by a dirt bike on Route 13, full throttle, weaving in and out of traffic, past me. Then I go to turn in here, and here he is going the opposite direction. I'm going down the road, he's headed the opposite direction. So that's the problem they have in Baltimore right now. The commissioners of Baltimore, you can look it up on Google. They have been trying to get a track open in the city of Baltimore so that these dirt bikers, who are all over the streets in Baltimore, have some place to ride. So Donnie Wiles opened a track basically for his son, and I was lucky enough to be invited out there back in like 1995, and it was cool, and Donnie was really nice, and Scotty was here. He was really awesome, but there was a lot of history and a lot of good things going on there, and a lot of semi-legal things, and a lot of these other people came in, and they have a lot of memories. And that's what has happened in Kent County. And now, with our economy the way it is, and the way the population has happened, you can't do that anymore. Now it needs to be a business. Now it needs to be a business, because Donnie died, and his wife is elderly, and she sold the property. So I got woken up this morning at 6 o'clock. I live in an agriculture area by an airplane, a crop duster. They're pretty loud. And I'm sure you guys have had noise complaints from them. And Dover Air Force Base, I'm sure you've had plenty of noise complaints from their airplanes. But it is a weird place to change zoning. But you already have a track there. Where else are you going to put a track? Where are you going to get the leadership and the money to put a track in an area that's already zoned this? It's not going to happen. But that's all I got to say. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from the commissioners? Thank you, sir.
Daniel Washburn, 16 West Walnut Street, Magnolia, Delaware.
Sir, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Proceed.
About 2 years ago, I was looking for something for my son to get into. We tried football, baseball, lacrosse, soccer, everything, and he really never had that much passion. So I looked up dirt bikes. And when he started getting into dirt bikes, I just seen it burn inside of him. He loved it. So I looked up where to take him, and I found Snake Creek. It's like, it's on a back road. So I took him down there, and I was real intimidated, because it was an MX track. And Zach and Chris, some of the nicest people in the world. They've shown my son how to ride, how to fix his bikes. And I really think it would be a disservice to our community to get rid of Snake Creek. And they brought up a issue about the noise maybe First time we went down there, it's on a back road, as you see. Me and my son got turned around and we pulled over right by the driveway, and we got out and we was looking, and we could barely hear a hum, barely hear a hum. And that's with some dirt bikes going around the track. So I don't see where and who is complaining about the noise, you know? Because from the road, we could barely hear them. And like I said, Zach and Chris both are great pillars of the community now. They moved in from out of state, and they've done nothing but influence my kid positively, you know? And I think it's a good thing for our community. That's all.
Any questions by commissioners? Thank you, sir.
Hey guys, my name is Hayden White. I'm coming from 1106 Barrett Chapel Road, Felton, Delaware. I'm on the Air Force Base.
Mr. White, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So got stationed here, been in 10 years. I'm a staff sergeant. I heard about the track from another sergeant on base. He can't be here because he's on the flight line tonight. But there's a lot of guys on base that ride. I'm just here to speak. I don't think anyone else is speaking on that. I want to speak from the base. Like, my opinions don't reflect the DOD's, but I just want to talk for the guys on base. We love riding there. And I was an instructor for FTAC. I met hundreds of new airmen, and I always asked the question. A lot of them had bikes, but they left them back home because they didn't think there was a place to ride. I know for me, it saved, like, mental health wise. It's one of my best avenues. My wife bought me a dirt bike again for Christmas because I was forced to get out of it. I have a 2-year-old son that rides at Snake Creek. My daughter was born yesterday. She'll ride at Snake Creek. We love it, and I'm a part of the Veterans MX community, and their motto is so may others can ride. And I would like to host maybe Veteran MX track days here with that organization, and it's just a big part of my life. So I wanted to come and spend my time to advocate for them, but I got to get going. My son's in the car with my sister. But I wanted to take the time out of my night to tell you guys about what it does for the base. So, any questions?
Well, thank you, and congratulations on the birth of your daughter.
Thanks, sir.
And it's commendable that you should come out tonight. And I assume your wife is either in the hospital still or home with the baby?
She loves it there too, so she wanted me to be here. So.
All right. Any questions from the commissioners? No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor?
Hi, my name is Cody Groves. I'm from 27688 Sandtown Road, Goldsboro, Maryland.
Sir, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. My father was the one up here on crutches earlier. When I was 3 years old, I remember we actually live on the Sandtown Pits, which is behind our house, and I remember Mr. Mike Schock was out there with his YMCA group, and I only remember it one time, and just because I was so young, you know, I was 3 years old. I mean, I couldn't tell you the difference between my toe and my elbow. So, but I was up there, and I remember seeing him and his son Cody Schock, and multiple other like riders that I grew to know, obviously all older, that I still know and still talk to. And I actually his son Cody Schock is a highly acclaimed professional motocross racer, and so am I. So Cody has now moved to California to pursue his dream because just to get on the level of that's where all the main manufacturers and that's how you, it's like where it's basically going to college for motocross. It's not the same thing, but you go there to get recognized and to go into the pro ranks, and that's exactly what he did, and he's doing a phenomenal job at it. My point to talk up here today is I remember coming to Snake Creek whenever I was about 6 years old. One of my buddies that I long lost friend now, but just invited us to come out. I guess my dad knew about it already, but I didn't. And I rode there, and I think that was probably about 2008. And I remember there was no one there. I think it was a Saturday. There was no one there. The track was good, but it was so small, and at the time you had Blue Diamond and Seaford, and everyone went there instead of going there because those were the higher claimed tracks. Well, about 4 years later, I remember coming there on a 65, which is about 7 to 9 year old range, and there was probably 100 people there on a Saturday, and from there on out, I got to know Miss Angie and Rob, and I never really knew Donnie that well, but my point is without Snake Creek, I would have never been able to advance myself into being a professional motocross racer. John and Ezra Beasley, they have Budds Creek. Budds Creek is it's the home race. It's the home race for the professional series. There's 12 rounds. It starts in California, moves to Colorado, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Washington, New York, Maryland, and Indiana. Well, if I wouldn't had Snake Creek and been able to ride with Cody Schock, I would never have been able to advance to where I have became now, and it's awesome. I've been coming to Snake Creek forever. When Miss Angie passed away, or not sorry, my bad. When Miss Angie closed down Snake Creek, and I believe it was the beginning of 2019. I had just received a support ride from Suzuki Motor Corporation of America, and I was riding on their team, and I broke my foot the week of knowing that. I broke my foot on a Wednesday at a track meet, and I found out that she was closing it down within the same time, and I had a couple of other family issues that came to me, and when I found out that Snake had been shut down, it only ended up lasting for about a year of being totally no one riding there. That year, or that period, that month and a half was really, really rough on me because I've not only did I thought I was going to lose my support ride from being hurt. I lost my favorite track, my where I have grown up my whole entire life. I thought I was losing all of that, and I thought I had lost all of it until summer of 2020, and I hadn't gone pro yet. So summer of 2020 was the year that was gonna be my rookie season, and I didn't get to do it because I didn't have the funds, and it was obviously 2020 was a weird year, and professional racing was on a downslope because they had limited amount of entries, so I couldn't enter, and so I came to whenever I knew I wasn't going to be able to race the Pro Series that year, and I actually saw a picture on Instagram. Zach, the guy with the broken wrist, he said he had a picture and he was at Snake Creek, and I was like, "Whoa, what are you doing there?" I'm like, what are you doing at Snake Creek? And he said possible new owners, because I knew it was for sale. So he said possible new owners are here, helping Angie clean up. And I was like, I was 18 at the time. No, I was 17 at the time, and I was was at home, and I think my dad had me trying to do something that weekend, and he got really mad at me. But anyways, because ended up going there and didn't tell him. But I went there, and then I started cutting down trees for probably 5 hours. And Zach had been working on doing some grading to get the drainage fixed, because after the year of not touching dirt, everything erodes away. All the drainage systems that we had that were already set in place had filled up. We were blowing out. We were trying to get drains cleared, that way water would drain correctly off of the track, and just normal stuff to get riding. And it was about 5 o'clock, and it was about probably 100 degrees out that day, and I'd worked for about 5 hours. And me being able to ride that track after about a year and 3 months of not being able to ride was so happy. Like, it just brought so much joy to me. And from there on out, I helped out a lot, trying to get the track back going to its former glory, because before they had shut down, I mean, there was times when there was 150 people at the track every weekend. I remember going there, and they would have to split practices up 5 groups, and we'd only be able to ride for about 12 minutes every hour, which stinks, because now the turnout is not as what it was. We would like it to get back to where it was, but now you can pretty much ride all day without any breaks, with the select few days that has enough.
Cody,
Yeah, I'm rambling, aren't I?
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. Your passion really does show.
I had one more point.
How much interest you have in the track, but there's a lot of other folks in the audience who'd like to testify too. And thank you for a brief history of the track. Okay. That was informative.
I just wanted to get on the racetrack point. So the reason that we want to change it to a racetrack is because, well, one, there's not any, the actual closest racetrack is Budds Creek, which is 2.5 hours away. The misconception of more people being there on a weekend, it's not a racetrack every weekend. It would probably end up only being about 3 races in the entire year, 3 weekends out of the year. That would, and I doubt it would. If it brought more than 100 or if it brought more than 200 people, I would be astonished. Just because right now we're still growing the community back from it had gone out, it had fizzled out over the year. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I'm sorry.
Great. Thank you, Cody. Yeah. Any commissioners have any questions for Cody? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, before y'all come up, we've heard testimony from 10 different individuals, I think it is so far, I've got listed here. If you have something different to add, please come forward. But if you want to say ditto, I will take hand raises at the end. So, we've had quite a bit of testimony already, and we've got quite a bit more to go. So if it's just ditto, please raise your hand. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Quinetta Sims. First name is Quinetta, Q-U-I-N-E-T-T-A. Last name is Sims, S-I-M-M-S. And I live at 275 Statenville Road. So I live right down the street from Snake Creek.
Ms. Sims, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So I'm not going to rehash anything that anyone else has said. The only other thing I wanted to really just state, because I have to leave, is one of the things for the community I think it's needed. As a neighbor, noise is not an issue to me. I work from home, 40-hour job. I work for Comcast as a supervisor, so I'm on the phones on occasion with customers. I've not once ever received a complaint. My customers can't hear. Sometimes I can't hear from inside of my house. I have to actually step outside of my house to actually hear it. I'm on 2 acres. I'm a rider, but an ATV rider. I don't do dirt bikes. My daughter does ATV as well, but my spouse rides a dirt bike. And we actually purchase rack licenses in PA because we don't have anywhere to ride in Delaware. So, we have to drive 2, 3, 4, 5 hours away to go enjoy ourselves and leave our state, which we love. But I just wanted to say that in reference to the children, it teaches them motor skills. My daughter's been riding ATV since she was 2, and she's 24 now, and she still rides to this day. It teaches them discipline. It also helps them with, motor skills. And when they become drivers later in the years when they get older. So there's a lot of different things that the sport benefits the young children as well as adults. I still ride as well, and I'm 44 with arthritis. So sometimes it's a struggle, but we're all very passionate about riding. It's either dirt life, it's salt life. We all like to have something to do to enjoy ourselves, and it's frustrating when things are taken away from the community. So I just wanted to make sure I came out tonight and shared my opinion.
Thank you, ma'am. It's appreciated. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brandon Zook. I live at 12430 Statenville Road.
Mr. Zook, do you swear or affirm, sir, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so I live literally 2 houses down from the track, right off this picture. My family's lived there since the late 60s, and noise is 100% not an issue. If you can hear it, if you know what you're listening for, but if my wife walks outside, she's oblivious to it. I'll try to keep it very short, but as far as impact on wildlife or anything like that, you can ride by the track any day and there's deer in that field, right out in front of the track. So, I'm just here as a neighbor saying that it's a positive influence on the community, for the children, and it's not a burden at all. Do you all have any questions for me?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Zook.
Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name's Jolene Jenkins. I live at 1255 Autumn Moon Lane, Magnolia, Delaware. Another moto mom, moto wife.
Ms. Jenkins.
Yes.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do. Proceed.
Just to kind of, everybody's touched in on the whole process and what motocross means to them. But one thing that I will honestly say as a community, everybody's about how there's so much division, so much separation. Motocross, the community that is involved in this is like no other community that I would compare it to the horse community. You have somebody that goes down, somebody that horse gets injured, everybody is on board to help out. Something happens to somebody's horse, everybody's right there. Motocross is the same way. It came very obvious to us about 12 years ago when a very good friend of ours and his mother were brutally murdered, and we moved from Jersey to Delaware. In a matter of 3 days at the time, Blue Diamond was around. I got with with Alan from Blue Diamond at the time, and local Diamond Motorsports, other motocross like DHY in New Jersey, other dirt bike industries, and Dakota Kessler, some of the other professional like we heard from a couple here, that actually supported and came out to Blue Diamond in a matter of 3 days to support and raise money for a family that they've never met. Some of them knew Ryan from being on the track. Some of them knew him by word of mouth or this or that. We raised over $5,000 in a matter of a day for this family. It is a community like you have never seen, and a community that rallies together like no other. Our country, our state, everything that we have needs more community awareness and more togetherness. Shutting down Snake Creek, you're separating another community. You're separating another group of family. This is a support system that you can only get, like I said, I compare it to the horse industry. Horse racing is huge in Delaware. Motocross is the same thing. It takes to be a great athlete to race, to be able to either be a harness racer or to be on the back of those thoroughbreds. The athletes are also the motocross riders. You will never meet more endurance than training, the dedication. What they put into the sport is not just a fly-by-night type of a thing. It's just like if you love a horse, you throw your leg over and you get on and you ride, you love that feeling. The only difference is, this is with a motor, they have 4 legs. It's the same, you got horsepower, just where is it coming from? Everybody that is involved in the sport, it takes it the same exact way. It is not just some run-of-the-mill, like, this is, when families make investments in this, you're making a huge investment. To buy our son a dirt bike to start out when he was 2 years old, he had a 50, you're spending $5,000 on a dirt bike. It's not a small investment that we make, not including the riding gear to keep them safe, from the boots to the helmets to the chest protectors, to everything that they need to be safe on these tracks. We invest in all of that. And by taking that away from these kids and from these families, you're taking away from big kids being adults being able to play with their big toys, little kids being able to learn and enjoy in something that their mom and their dad do, and something as a family to go out and do together. You can't go on a baseball field and everybody play baseball together. There's not a team that way. You can go on a track together and you can all go ride together. You can take your son out into the little mini track and teach him how to ride and be there right there with them. You can watch them just as if you fall off a horse, you get back on. They fall off of these dirt bikes, they get back on. You're able to watch that and enjoy that with them. Don't take this away from our community, from a community that is very dear and we all cherish very much. Thank you guys very much for your time and have a good night.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Anyone else have anything different, please?
My name's Timmy Stacy. I live at 13071 Logan Lane, Greensboro, Maryland.
Sir, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Timmy Stacy. I probably should spell it for you. The last name, STASNY. But anyhow, the reason I'm up here is because I have to go soon. I won't be here for the hand part, but I just want to be, my point being made. Before Snake Creek, I bought a home, had a kid, wife, married the whole 9 yards. My wife saw that I tried to become Tim the Toolman Taylor. She wasn't liking my carpentry skills, told me I need to go get a hobby. So I did need to go get a hobby. I developed anxiety over the years. I also got high blood pressure. And then I found out that Snake Creek reopened. Bought a dirt bike. I knew that that would make me have to work out. I bought a treadmill. I couldn't even run a mile. Now I'm running 3 miles, 8 minutes every day. My anxiety is gone. Jumping jumps makes that disappear. If Snake Creek built a bridge, I would try to jump it too. Just watching your little girl come there that's 2 years old and seeing her clap her hands on the bleachers when I ride by, it's an amazing feeling. And all these people here that have a Snake Creek shirt, all of them, they're all in phenomenal shape. My high blood pressure is gone. I actually have athletic blood pressure. I found that out 2 weeks ago at the doctors, and it's all because of having such a great place to ride. They're all like family. When you break down the track, somebody's there to help you. And my daughter, she's probably can't see her or not, but she's on a little dirt bike. She's only 2 years old. She's gonna be the future rider of Snake Creek, and I just hope that you guys allow it to stay open so we have a great place to go. And that's it. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Any questions?
Nope.
No, thank you, sir.
You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Megan Warnick. I live at 15007 Blanchard Road in Bridgeville.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Maddie, what did you say your last name was?
Warnick, W-A-R-N-I-C-K. I just wanted to come up here because I'm a little bit of an outsider. I don't ride dirt bikes. I have friends that have ridden there over the years, and I can say that I was on the property 10 years ago or more, and there were just as many people there riding back then as you see on the weekends now, so I don't see the argument of it's gotten out of hand. I can argue to the testament that it's not that loud. I have horses less than 2 miles from the property. They are flighty animals. They could care less about the dirt bikes. From day one, they never had an issue. But I understand what your argument is up here and what your concern is that the industrial zoning is a possibility to open up things down the road. But I think you can understand by the passion shown in this room tonight that there's enough people here that if for any reason the current owner needed to sell, then not only is he not going to sell to someone that's looking to build some industrial whatever, but you've got enough people here that somebody's going to step up because there are no places for them to ride in Delaware. You've got the families that their kids ride there, but they can't afford to race, but they still scrape together to go there every weekend to ride. You've got the people that are getting their start, trying to make a living doing it and become pro down the road. You've got the people that have ridden all their life and now they're adults and they're trying to do this as a hobby on the side and be able to race on the weekends for fun. But without Snake Creek as a place for them to practice, they can't race competitively on the circuit, so why spend the fuel money to drive hours and hours? I think the passion here has shown you that if it were to go to sale at some point down the road, even if it is industrial zoned, that it's not going to go to something like that. And I think that you guys should really consider approving it tonight so that it goes to the, whatever you guys called it, I'm sorry, I'm lost for words, the conditional use. Because without you guys voting yes tonight, it can't go to conditional use. And without it becoming staying as a business so that they can charge to keep the track up, they've said it. It's a labor of love. Without it being a business to a certain extent, they can't afford to keep the track going. So we're just asking you tonight to consider it. Like I said, I'm the outsider. I don't ride dirt bikes. I ride horses. But it is, like she said, to see their community hurting because of this, it hurts. It's the same way for horses in Delaware. There's less and less places to ride. Heck, our own state fairgrounds is built for horse use, and they don't even want us to do that anymore. They've raised the fees outstanding for us to host anything. So to have this small track in the area and all these people that want to support it, there's ways around this if you approve the industrial use to get the conditional use permit after this. We just ask you to consider that and all the families you'll be impacting.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to offer anything different? Okay. As I stated earlier, who's here in favor of this? Raise your hand. I like the little guys in back standing up so they can be seen. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thank you all for coming out here. We hear your passion. We really do. Okay. So at this time, we're going to move on, and I'm going to ask anyone here that is in opposition to this application to please come forward and offer testimony. And again, please state your name, your address, and be sworn or affirmed.
Good evening. My name is Joe Herzog, H-E-R-T-Z-O-G. I live at 1554 Woodyard Road, which is, if you zoom out on that, my property is shown on the multiple ones over on Woodyard Road. I live approximately Mr. Herzog, Yo. do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you. Let me start by saying that, Zach, I understand that you are a great person. I have nothing personal against you, but I'm against this rezoning, and I'm going to give you all some facts, my opinions why, okay? I don't begrudge anyone the opportunity to start or run a business, but when it interferes with the quality of life for me and my family, I do have a problem with it. The Snake Creek Cross Country Motocross claims that they've been there since 1993. We've heard that this evening. I didn't realize they were there until about 6 or 7 years ago, when the increase in both the volume and the frequency of the noises. It sounds like a beehive when you're out in my backyard. I moved to Delaware in 1992 when I was assigned to Dover Air Force Base, and I retired in 1999 after 21 years of service. To follow up on the comment about a noise complaint for Dover Air Force Base airplanes would be a foolish thing for anybody to do, because that is the sound of freedom, and if you don't understand that, you probably need to think a little bit more. I moved to the country to enjoy the peace and quiet. In the last few years, this has changed, due mostly from the noise coming from the Snake Creek motocross. Imagine trying to enjoy a quiet afternoon outside. Again, I live about 3/4 of a mile. Part of it's woods, then there's open field to where my house is. It backs up to my house. Imagine trying to enjoy a quiet afternoon and your neighbor comes out and they fire up a chainsaw. And then their kid comes out and fires up another chainsaw. And then another person comes out and fires another chainsaw. And this goes on for 4 to 6 hours a day, every weekend. And every weekend, I have to listen to it. And now I have to listen to it a couple times during the week. I don't begrudge them to have a business. But when the business interferes with my quality of life, I have a problem with it. A few weekends ago, I had some friends over for a barbecue. And one of them said, "What is that noise?" And I said, "It's the motocross place." He goes, "You have to deal with that all the time?" I said, "Yes, I do. And I'm really getting tired of it." Title 7 on Section 7105, Regulations of Governing of Noise in Delaware. I don't know the right way to quote, but the one issue that got my attention, I'm sorry here, let me find it. Noise disturbance means that any sound which annoys or disturbs a reasonable person of normal sensitivities or jeopardizes the value of property and erodes the integrity of the environment. Compliance with Section 771-1-6 hereon shall constitute an elimination of that noise disturbance. Okay, if they're riding bicycles back there, I wouldn't hear anything. It wouldn't bother me at all. Okay? In a recent Facebook post, Snake Creek said, "Our kids grew up riding track here. We heard the history lessons. This is no longer a little family gathering place to ride dirt bike. It's a full-fledged motocross operations with riders coming from Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Virginia. I saw 4 license plates out there in Maryland. I saw one from Pennsylvania and one from New Jersey out in the parking lot earlier. Okay? I even saw one license plate from Florida, but I'm assuming that was an Air Force guy, because I don't think anybody's going to come that far. And yet they claim it's a place for the kids to ride. I challenge the Snake Creek to supply the commissioners with a complete and thorough list of your clientele to tell them about all these local kids that come around and ride, because I see the license plates. They're not local kids. They're from all over the place. I ask the commissioners, what would motivate them to comply with zoning laws now and to seek to have the zoning changed? I'm guessing it's to expand the operations even further, more tracks, and possible lighting for extended hours. I request the commissioners consider the quality of life issues for the local landowners and homeowners who've been here 20, 30, and 40 years over the desires of the outer-towners to have a place to ride their bikes. I ask this approval for the request to rezone and also ask for the current zoning requirements be enforced. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions from commissioners? Thank you, sir.
And if anybody would like to come over, the commissioners have a cup of coffee with me some Saturday afternoon around 11 o'clock. You can get a feel for what I'm talking about.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to testify against ordinance LC 21-15, please come forward. And please state your name, address, and be sworn or affirmed.
My name is Matt Feint, F-E-I-N-D-T. I live at 4330 Big Stone Beach Road, Milford, but I own 175 acres right next to Snake Creek.
Mr. Funt, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
This has been a long, drawn-out process. I bought my place roughly 10 years ago. There are people in this county that want development everywhere. They want houses, they want business, and that's fine and dandy. That's not what I want, okay? I want quiet. I want to enjoy myself. I enjoy being out with nature. I'm the deer hunter, okay, that everybody's complaining about and all this tonight, okay? I bought my 175 acres 10 years ago because it was a place for me to get away from the busyness of life and to go out and enjoy myself. There was a bike track there when I bought my property. I was aware of it when I bought the property, okay? But to be clear, they ran from approximately April till early October. They would run 1 to 2 weekends a month on average. There were months they didn't run at all, okay? They would run maybe one day. Every once in a great while, they would run a Saturday and a Sunday. Hardly ever heard anything through the week. Hardly heard any kind of noise or anything like that. It wasn't what we liked, but it was tolerable, okay? You talk about complaints and people complaining about stuff like that. What I have found after going around, meeting all the neighbors, because I'm the one, I'm sure you guys all got the petitions and all that stuff. I'm the one who went around, knocked on doors, and talked to everybody, okay? Every person that I talked to all had the same statement. We don't like telling people what they can do with their property. We didn't like it, but we were able to tolerate it, okay? Since they have bought this property, okay, first of all, it was 2 years basically between the ownership and them starting it back up. I'm gonna be honest with you, those were the greatest 2 years of my life. It was beautiful, it was quiet, it was wonderful, okay? They opened it back up, and since then, when it first started, it was every weekend, Saturday and Sundays. The only times they weren't running is if it was raining and too wet on that track to ride. They would run from early in the morning until dark, okay? Then, when all this started, I'm the one who started raising all the flags and complaining about what was going on because they interfered with my ability to enjoy myself on my property. If there was a way for them to do what they do on their property and it was quiet and I didn't hear it, I don't care about them riding bikes. I have nothing against them riding bikes. But what I have a problem is the noise that goes along with it. My property from my closest point to theirs to my furthest point is 3/4 of a mile, okay? And I can stand on the very back corner of my property, 3/4 of a mile away, and all I hear, like Joe said, is a bunch of damn chainsaws running. That's all we hear, non-stop, all weekend long, all the time. And now it's turning into during the week, over and over again, okay? We bought our property, my wife and I, to build our house, our long-term final house to live in, and hopefully in the next 8 or 10 years. I don't want to live over there and listen to all this. You know, they have made it, and you had the man that was real long-winded up there talking, having 150 riders at one time out there. So you all imagine, 150 weed whackers, 150 chainsaws running at the same time all weekend long. And they've sat right there and said, they want to expand. They want to get bigger. They want to get it back to its former glory. This is not what the community around there wants. All right? I emailed every one of you guys' petitions, had 40-some signatures. Not a single solitary one of them had anything good to say about that bike track. None of them. All right? I sent you guys a map showing the location of their sneaker and the people that own the property around it. The vast majority of the people that I talk to around it own the majority of the ground around it. They don't want it. I got nothing against motocross. Absolutely nothing against it. If you guys want to do a track in the proper place for it, have at it. I'll come help you build the track. No problem with it, okay? But this isn't the place for it. If the county feels the need that there needs to be a motocross track in this county, then the county should go out and figure out a place that is appropriate for it to be. That's not it, all right? The biggest thing of all this tonight is this is a zoning change, and I think we've lost sight of all this, and that's what's taken the last 9 months to get to this point, was losing sight of this being a zoning change. It should not happen. It should not be there. That's all I have to say about it.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Any questions from commissioners? Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience opposed to this ordinance, please come forward.
My name is Jennifer Feint, 4330 Big Stone Beach Road, Milford, Delaware.
Ms. Feint, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So as my husband just shared with you, we purchased our property, which is just to the south of Snake Creek, about 10 years ago, intending for that to be our quiet enjoyment, weekends and things like that with our 2 children. These guys' idea of fun is going out racing on a dirt bike. Our idea of fun is being outside, walking around the fields, walking around the woods, hunting, doing all those kind of things, and enjoying the peace and quiet that is so hard to find nowadays. I greatly appreciate the passion that all of these folks have spoke about. I get that. I understand their point of view in that respect. But as Matt just alluded to, they're not even honing in on the matter at hand today. So I would like to restate some of the facts that are under consideration at this point, because I feel like that's totally been overlooked here. It is a zoning issue, as Matt just said. Only one person even mentioned that in their testimonies. Opening up the can of worms of industrial zoning, there are so many other uses that could come to play down the line. It's not just about a racetrack, it is about the industrial zoning. As was found in the staff reports from the county staff, as well as the recommendation from the Regional Planning Commission, they did recommend denial on this for a multitude of reasons. There are stormwater concerns. I know some of the folks alluded to the fact that they're not. We have pictures of the difference in the tax ditch and the sediment that you can see when they are over there running. There is a stormwater concern. They don't have a stormwater plan. It's just not part of what they're after. They've not done their due diligence in that. It's also outside of the growth zone. It does not meet the criteria for your approval of this request. It's completely textbook. It just doesn't fit the mold. This has been ongoing for quite some time. I mean, we spoke at the Regional Planning Commission last fall. It got tabled, it's gotten tabled again and delayed a couple of weeks and here and there. They had like 9 months to go and do their due diligence. And at the Regional Planning Commission meeting that was held recently, they had nothing to show for that time. They didn't have this noise study that apparently has now surfaced. They didn't share that. The commissioner specifically asked them if they had anything to provide or produce, to show what they've done over the last 9 months, or however you want to phrase that. They didn't provide anything. Now all of a sudden they're saying they have this and nobody's seen it. They don't even know where it is. I feel like that speaks volumes, to the preparedness and the management of the operation as well. One thing that really frightens me, and the last lady that spoke kind of alluded to it, they say they're losing money. How long is that really viable? Everybody loves it right now and it's going okay and they're able to make ends meet, but at some point they're going to get tired of that and they're going to say, yeah, no, I'm just going to sell it. I'm not in for it anymore. And everybody can sit here right now and say, oh yeah, somebody's going to buy it if they have to sell. You can't make an approval based on, oh yeah, somebody's going to buy it. That's not hard and fast evidence. There's no one committing that they're going to buy it. There's nobody saying that it's a definite. But all of these regulations that we have in place right now are definite. There are rules and requirements that have to be met, and they have met none of those. I know it's been alluded to, about the deer and things like that. It's not about the deer. It's about the enjoyment of all of these adjacent landowners and neighboring landowners' properties. No, we all don't live adjacent to the property right now. But as my husband alluded to, our intention was to move our home, our primary residence, to that property. And with the way it is right now, I don't want to live there. It's nice and peaceful out in Milford Neck where I live right now. I would give my right arm to go and move to that farm, but it's just not pleasant right now. And that's a shame that we have invested all of that time and money into something that we don't have the full enjoyment of. And as Joe alluded to, it's bothersome. People come over, you can hear it. They might be a little numb to it because they hear it all the time. And, it's something that they enjoy. When you don't enjoy it, it is a nuisance. It is by far a nuisance of sound. Just in closing, I know a lot of these points have already been made, but I just beg of you to please go back to the staff recommendation, go back to the regional planning recommendation, and look at the facts of this case. It is a zoning issue. Once it's changed to industrial, it's going to be industrial, and we don't know what could come down the pipe after that. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any commissioners have any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anyone else in the audience opposed? Anyone else opposed, please come forward.
Hello, my name is Daniel Wall. I live at 637 Statonsville Road.
Mr. Wall, do you swear or affirm, sir, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, there's two issues here that I'd like to talk about. It's the noise and the zoning. And first off, the zoning. If anyone looks at that map up there, anyone can tell that that's not an industrial area and that should not be zoned industrial. That's almost a no-brainer to me. And the noise issue, I don't know how people can say, oh, you can hear as a whisper and this and that. I live basically 1,200 feet from my front door to the track. And when I'm on my screen porch or even inside my house sometimes, it's hard to have a conversation with someone because the noise is so loud. You can feel it in your ears, it's so loud. I was at a property on Messabob Road, which is an adjacent road. And it's not even on that map. And you could hear the motorcycles from there. And when I went home, I mapped it out and it was 7,700 feet. That's roughly 1.5 miles through the woods. So this, you can't hear it, that's nonsense. You can hear it, that's the problem. If you couldn't hear it, we probably wouldn't be here. And for the conditional use, if people talked about history, I can give you some history. My name was on this deed with my dad and my grandfather since 1976 to 1997 when I signed it over. And before that, my great-grandfather bought this, everything you see on that map, and then some, so he could move from Pennsylvania, Delaware County, where there was industry and oil refineries, so he would have a nice quiet place, and he divvied out the property to his family. And my dad is the one that started this track. And I was against it then, and I'm against it now. And people say there's no money in it. The reason he did it is because for the money. We had a construction business, and he stopped the construction business because he said this is more profitable. So the money in this and that, that's not true. It's the money. Everything else goes along with it. It's so noisy that when I'm in my shower, I can hear the motorcycles. That's how noisy it is. When I get home sometimes, I'll open up my car door, and the first thing I hear is the motorcycles. And the first thing I do is go, unbelievable. You know, the first thing that greets you when you get home is the sound of motorcycles. And it's not a little whisper, it's not this and that, it's intrusive, very intrusive. And as far as talk of the conditional, that's, you know, it's not, the zoning's one part of it that's, like I said, almost a no-brainer. And then the second part is the intrusiveness, the disturbance, and this and that, and the conditional to whatever riding there is not going to fly with the property owners either. Everyone that's a property owner around there is against it. I don't think I see any property owners for it. You know, the owner of Snake Creek doesn't have to listen to it because he lives in New York. So there you go. You know, it's the property owners, like I said, everybody, all the property owners are against it. And, you know, if, you know, George and Lynch wanted to build an asphalt plant next to your house, and all your neighbors says, oh, no, that's a bad idea. But I was, maybe I put that wrong. George and Lynch, and I was an asphalt contractor. Oh yeah, that's fine, build that asphalt plant there. You know, it doesn't make much noise. You know, at least I can get my asphalt to go do my jobs if I'm a contractor. So it's kind of the same thing like that, you know. And that's, like I said, that's basically all I have to say. I'm not going to go on, but it's definitely the noise is the issue. And like I said, if you can hear it for 1.5 miles through the woods, it wasn't loud, but just imagine how noisy it is 1,200 feet from my front door. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Any commissioner have any questions for Mr. Wall? Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience opposed to this ordinance, please come forward.
My name is John Shepard. I live at 873 Statenville Road, Harrington, Delaware, which is the farm directly across the street, and own the farm that directly surrounds the track.
Mr. Shepard, you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you.
So I'd like to thank the commissioners for the opportunity to comment tonight, and I hear the folks from the track and their community and their family, and I admire and I respect that of each and every one of them, Zach and Vinny as well, as neighbors. I probably come tonight to provide a little different take on this whole thing. We've kind of been quiet because of Don was my cousin, like a brother to me. That the parcel that Don's on, the original 8 acres that Dan Wall spoke of, was taken off of an inheritance for my mother and given to Don early on because of family and my grandfather, who my family moved down here bought the farm over 70 years ago in order to avoid the hustle and bustle of city life and town life, and to get away from Pennsylvania and to be a part of an agricultural community in Delaware. So the perspective that I want to give tonight, and everybody talks about this track, and it's been there 20 years, 30 years. Parts of it have been on the original 8 acres. And I think if the county were to look at when Don acquired the additional 8 acres, which none of this group know this, none of you probably know this, but if you look at when that track was built, the additions to it were built illegally on my mother's farm. And the reason that in about 2010 or 11, that was parceled to Don because of the fear of liability from my mother, who had no idea that that was built on her. We live across the street. We leave people to their own business. We try not to interfere. We're an agricultural group, an agricultural setting. That's what we love. That's where we want to be. You know, there's over 50 chicken houses within 2 miles of us. Never once have we ever complained. There's chicken trucks up and down the road. Never once have we complained. The infrastructure's not there for that, but we're not ones to complain. And so I stand here tonight, really, I guess, the thought of ever changing what is my piece of heaven on earth out there. I get to look out my window every day, and I get to see 70 or 80 acres on one side of the road and 70 or 80 on the other side. And my parents, who worked their entire life to build and keep that place, live with me. And they are both in their 80s. Love that farm. People talk about money here, and it's not about money today, but if we want to talk about money, let's talk about the millions that my family have spent over the years in order to preserve agricultural farmland there. We haven't developed our sites. We haven't done that. There's days, and as you can all understand, in years where things were tight, and we struggled to keep what we had there. So for us, again, ag's a way of life. We raise horses, we raise some cattle, some chicken. We raised chickens for over 20 years with Purdue Farms, and built that in an environmentally sensitive way back in the woods with a woods buffer around it because of neighbors, being cognizant of that. The track, again, it's continued to evolve and evolve and evolve to the point that, depending on the day and depending on the weather and basically the wind direction, whatever, it honestly becomes unbearable. And I know people may say, how can that be? When you have, and the gentleman gave the analogy, but when you have the 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever chainsaws, motorcycles running on a weekend basis, I'll put it that way, and then on a daily basis, probably 8 to 10, the riding is bad enough, okay? And we learn to try to tolerate and get along with our neighbors, whatever. But what also troubles me is that after 4 and 5 o'clock, the dozers and the skid loaders that never stop till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, the folks who come from out of town, who bring their campers, who park there, who blare music, who party, who do things of that nature, where there's never a break for us. There's never a break for, whether you're a Bible-believing person or not, I am. And on the seventh day, God rested. And there's no rest out there with the noise. It's like I said, it's not just the hours, but the additional that continues to pour salt on the wound of us that live right there with it. Weekly, monthly, annually, over the years, people, again, I'm the next farm. You can see there's a U driveway. You can come in 2 spots. I used to have a driveway for my poultry operation and for our farmstead. Numerous people turning around, not only in my driveway, through my yard, or even worse, through my soybean field or through my alfalfa field. And to be even worse than that, which God forbid, because I hate to see it, and I'm sure a lot of these folks have been there when it's happened, when the air helicopter gets called in. He lands in my alfalfa field. That's where he lands. No recourse, and I want people to be saved, don't get me wrong, but again, it's the old adage about if you have a hunting preserve, that you don't mind an eagle here and there, but you don't want them there every day to eat all your birds that you turn out. It's just a daily occurrence that it's getting to the point of ridiculous for our family to continue to listen to and try to work through, when we worked our entire life to save it and preserve it for its true intended purpose, which was agriculture. Again, with agriculture, which is near and dear to my heart, I work for the Department of Agriculture in Maryland. We're continually having to upgrade and do things that we need to do for agriculture. We need nutrient management plans. We need erosion sediment control plans. We need stormwater management plans. We need conservation farm plans. And I have all those things on my farm. I continue to take continuing education classes for nutrient management for my farm. I ask, and I know, this site was never built with any approved site plan of any type from any commissioners or any, it never was. It was built fly by night. So with that being said, there's never been a sediment control plan for this site. There's never been a stormwater management plan for this site. And this site can never be healed with grass. It's always active, it's always open. And part of federal law is that any site over an acre that would require an erosion sediment control plan, any site that is disturbed would need a notice of intent from the EPA. And I don't believe that that's a case here. And I don't know, and there's a lot of folks saying that there's no discharge. Well, I'm also one of the managers on the tax ditch, and there's several outlets directly from the track to the tax ditch with no stormwater, with no, I mean, I'm not saying they're not swales, but they're dirt swales. They contribute dirt directly into that. Now, we just recently, as managers of the tax ditch, went through and dipped out that section, but we spent over $33,000 to go from Statenville Road, or a little bit past that, up by one of our subdivisions, a little further, all the way back to Coon Den Road. So the sediment is coming from somewhere, and I would, love for anyone to see on my farm, which is the only farms that are there, there's huge grass buffers. So it's not coming from me. I follow my plans, my nutrient management, my conservation farm plan. I follow those things. So those are the questions that for me that I ask, how does it continue to operate in that manner when we are all required to have a different set of rules? I asked that the zoning not be changed and to keep Delaware our #1 industry. For me, again, back to my family and my folks, they bought and paid for that farm and retired there to enjoy the peace and country living that we try to do. People talk about, I heard a gentleman tonight talk about mental health. Mental health is real. It's very real for me and my family. And again, I work all day. When I come home on the weekends, I want to enjoy my horses. I want to enjoy my family. I want to be able to cook out. I want to be able to do those things and not have to hear that. And I didn't move to a spot that had that. I've been there 49 years myself. I've never lived on any other parcel in Delaware other than where I am. And again, people talk about investment. Our investment has been major. So I thank you for your time. And I ask that you would deny the zoning change and keep our area agricultural.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. Appreciate it. Anyone of the commissioners have any questions for Mr. Shepherd? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the audience opposed to this application? Anyone in the audience opposed? Any commissioners for Ms. Kiefer before I close the hearing? Mr. Sweeney.
Thanks, sir. So, Ms. Kiefer, just one real quick question, or maybe Counselor. The Regional Planning Committee voted to deny the application, and the requirement of Levy Court is to have 5 votes in favor of approval in order to override the RPC.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none at this time, I'll close the public hearing on ordinance LC 21-15, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Buxton if he would like to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion after I make a few comments. In my tenure, which is getting ready to come to an end, I've dealt with many difficult decisions to make in my district. It seems like the 4th district is it's ground zero for these types of conversations. In fact, we just had one, a few months ago, but it is what it is. First starters, the young folks in the crowd. Great job, parents, moms and dads. Thanks for keeping them in the game. I know it's easy to get them out of here, but to have them stick around like that shows a lot of character. I would ask you stay with me, right? And switch chairs with me for a second. You know, I try to switch chairs with you when I'm listening to you. I get the passion on both sides. But switch chairs with me and remind yourself, what is it that I'm asked to make? What decision am I asked to make? You know, as a commissioner up here who has to follow the rule of law as it exists in front of me right now, in my interpretation of it. So we're not here, I'm not anyway, speaking myself, because I didn't feel the passion in front of me, or the understanding of what it means to be able to go out there and ride motocross. And I completely understand the fact that this is the last stand, so what are you going to do about it? So I get all that. That wasn't lost. Right? I completely understand it. I imagine the others do. I'm certain that the folks in opposition get that. That doesn't cure this. What do we do about it is the question, right? There's a packet full of folks equal to the number of folks in this room who are in opposition. I'm not going to weigh in tonight on who's right. It is what it is. We had testimony from neighbors, both for and against, who live right there. What am I supposed to say? Well, your testimony sounded better than theirs. I can't. It's not the question I'm being asked tonight. So I want to make sure you understand that, because the fact you stay here till 10 at night, at 10 of 10 almost, with a desired outcome, I respect and appreciate that. And this game isn't over. The fight isn't over, right? There are options that I'll try and present. So we're being asked tonight to deal with an existing track. Regardless of what form or fashion started 29 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it might be. It's an existing recreational operation created by the landowners. The first one, second one, then third one. That's not why we're here. We're here tonight because the most recent one has decided that they'd like to operate commercially. They need to generate revenue to keep the place alive. They do. And that's fair. The problem is that starts to trip our laws. That's why we're here. How is it that you existed prior to this? Because I said before, we tried to make it exist to the best of our ability, working with the property owner and the folks operating the bikes with the community to just say, all right, let's let them exist as best we can. But we're not here, we're not there anymore. We're operating now as a business, and we want to operate as a business in order to make the place viable. That requires a conditional use, right? Stay with me. I'm almost done. But the problem is both sides are going to leave here tonight unhappy, right? And I'm going to be the target of your unhappiness. So if that's the case, at least I got to get it out. So here's where we are in this situation. When I look at operating as a business, in order to get there, you need a conditional use. Under our current laws, the only way for this property to get the conditional use is through IL zoning, right? You have to go industrial. So that's why we are here, right? It has zero to do with whether or not we think the park's great, whether or not it has runoff, whether or not there's bad parking, good parking, whether or not it's too loud or isn't loud. It has everything to do with, in order to get the conditional use to deal with all those things, we have to rezone the property. I used to race ponies when I was a kid. They had pony tracks like they do dirt tracks. Little Dover Downs, you guys, I don't know if anybody remembers that. Sandtown pony track. I don't know if anybody was ever there. They're all gone. Had we rezoned those to an IL, they would have gone and now been an industrial. So now you've got industrial zoning in the middle of nowhere, and trust me, there will be suitors that will come to that property. In fact, once it's rezoned, there'll be suitors come to that property in order to offer money greater than the value of running the motocross. That's just the way it's going to work at free market. That is what I fear. I don't fear. That's what will happen. That is why IL does not work. Now, why were you taken down this path? Because IL was the only option. I'll end with this. Well, what do we do about it then? I'll tell you what you do about it. You carve in a path or an option in AR that permits the use but allows it to be regulated. That doesn't happen tonight. That may not happen, but it can happen. There's a draft ordinance written, and in that ordinance, it can, if the levy court desires, allow for a carve-out. But now you need to understand what you're getting. You're getting conditions for approval. You're not getting a recreational park where you get to do what you want. You're going to have to meet runoff. You're going to have to meet parking. You will have to mitigate the noise. You just will. So that's what you're going to get when you operate as a business. No different than if it was a lawnmower place they were selling stuff. So it's 10 of 10. For some of you, you turned me off, but I'm hoping that you heard what I said. Why am I going to make a motion to deny the IL? Because I cannot permit, in good conscience, IL in that area. That cannot work. It'll run that place out of business. You'll get an offer you can't refuse and you'll be gone. And I appreciate you saying no, and I understand that, but that's a risk I can't take. And you can ride home tonight and see I remember they approached us about rezoning right across from the airbase. Oh, we're going to put a dog kennel in. 2 years later, there's a brand new sign up for sale. Am I challenging you on that? No, but if you switch chairs, I have to guard against that. You understand that? I have to guard against that. So I cannot support the IL. What I can support is coming right back and having the levy court decide, not tonight. You'll have to take time in a committee. We'll have to work with the folks in the area, both for and against, on what it would look like if you created an option in AR that prevented the last one from going away. That's what would happen. That's why I say, when I say tonight, I'm not going to make anybody happy. It is what it is. So I'm going to make a decision. That decision tonight is real simple. I'm going to make a motion to deny ordinance LC 2115 Snake Creek MXX motocross, to amend the zoning map from AR to IL, located outside the Gross Zone Overlay District. It's based on staff recommendations. It's based on my comments tonight. It's based on public hearing testimony, both for and against. And so that'll be my motion, and I will stick around and talk to any one of you that wants to talk to me when this thing's over, and you're free to call me. That's my motion.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Buxton to deny, second by Commissioner Maston. Are there any questions from the commissioners on the motion? Seeing none, it's time to take a roll call.
Ms. Strangel?
Well, as one of the longest serving on this court right now, this is one of the most compelling arguments I've heard. But just like Commissioner Buxton said, we are put here to do a job and follow the rules and regulations. And IL is not where this needs to be. In fact, industrial uses and racetracks are not compatible land uses in low-density residential areas and are predominantly used for agricultural, forestry, and low density. The Office of State Planning and Coordination, which is our state agency, which is DelDOT, DENREC, the State Historic Preservation Office, the PLUS review is what's known as, said this is a level 4 area where industrial development is inappropriate. Our code that proposes rezoning fails to meet all the conditions of approval for reclassification under Section 205-408 of our code. So in good conscience, I cannot move this to IL. But having heard what Mr. Buxton was saying, Commissioner Buxton, about looking at it for something else is a different issue. But IL is the issue, as it's a racetrack. So no, I cannot, can't approve it.
Is that a yes vote then?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, and adding to the comment, the reason for the carve-out is the track doesn't go away. It just has to fall back to its recreational operations. And then we're still dealing with weekends of issues of noise and back and forth that aren't going to be cured. It's just going to be an over and over headache. That's why conditional use, I would suggest, would be the best option. But there is no option right now for that. And maybe a conditional use is an option down the road. So, but that's for you to decide. But my answer obviously is yes, per my motion to deny.
Mr. Hall?
I just want to agree with Commissioner Buxton and Commissioner Angel, because after we have our vote, we move into another contentious issue, which I think between racetracks and solar panels have emerged as land use issues that we need to consider. We're not talking about building a NASCAR racetrack here, but we are talking about something that people enjoy doing and would want to operate it in a responsible way. And I think that right now our plan doesn't contemplate that very well, so we have work to do. Commissioner Buxton is spot on. Zoning is forever. Once it's rezoned IL forever. And although it's not, a major consideration of mine, I've heard several times tonight that it's not a profitable business, but I can assure you that an IL designation would make it a highly valuable piece of land. And so that's my main consideration, is that it's an inappropriate zoning for that area. So I vote yes to deny.
Mr. Howell?
Tell you the truth, I'm at a loss what we're doing here. I really am. I mean, I was going to vote against this, but if I say no now, what am I voting for? I don't agree with his motion to deny it. So does that mean I'm a yes or no? Well, it's easier. I'm used to saying no, but I definitely vote no.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, for all the reasons stated, unfortunately.
Mr. Sweeney?
I'm going to agree with Commissioner Hall and his comments and vote yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple comments. What Commissioner Buxton said was spot on. This property has changed hands several times, and I guarantee you if it has changed to IL, it will change again. The concern is not so much what took place in the past there, it's what is likely to happen in the future if this changes hands again in the IL designation. IL is not compatible with the surrounding area. You just don't have to look past this photograph that we're looking at here to see that. The state of Delaware Planning Office reviewed this, and they recommend denial. They said rezoning would encourage growth where the state has no plans to invest. They designate this area as out of play. The Regional Planning Commission recommended denial, and it's outside our growth zone. So we are not the only body voting against this changing to IL. This went before the Regional Planning Commission. They voted no. And also got a recommendation from the state of Delaware, who says they're not going to spend any more money in that area for roads or anything, any infrastructure. So this is out of play for the state of Delaware. So we will be the third body to review this and say no, it's not going to change to IL. So my vote is yes, and I agree with all the statements that made prior to me, plus what I stated. So I vote yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 nay.
Thank you. Roll call reveals that the ordinance LC 21-15 has been denied by Levy Court. That's it. So I'll give you all an opportunity to leave, and we have more Levy Court to do tonight, but you're welcome to stay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Kent County ordinance, falls under Commissioner Angel. It's ordinance LC 22-14, solar moratoriums revised. Commissioner Maston's going to handle this. Okay, Commissioner Maston.
Certainly. Sorry, Mrs. Kiefer?
Thank you. Ordinance LC 2214 is another short-term moratorium through September 8th on accepting applications for utility-scale solar. So it's effective, it's sort of an expansion or an extension of what Levy Court adopted some months ago. The Regional Planning Commission considered this at their July 7th hearing, but at their July 14th business meeting, were not able to come to a consensus. You can see it reflected in the memo to Levy Court. So this actually comes to the Levy Court without a recommendation from the Planning Commission. Again, this is just a short-term moratorium on the acceptance of large-scale utility solar applications. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hi, Ms. Kiefer. Not passing judgment in any particular direction, but how much work has been done on our solar ordinance since the last time we passed a moratorium?
The only work that's been done very, very recently, as of this afternoon, had to do with community solar, not utility solar.
Okay, so metaphorically, we are kicking a can down the road. Has the old moratorium expired?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Kiefer. Does this change anything to the original one other than add time?
No, just time.
If it went away, would it enable anything new to occur?
Certainly, I mean, there's still areas of the county where someone could pursue utility solar. We have not seen an interest in it. No one is applying for it. No one's talking to us about new large-scale applications. All interest has been in community.
We currently have, there's, the utility is banned outside the grow zone.
In AC.
Right. But in AR, outside the grow zone, it's still permitted. But there's draft amendments that knock that out of the park. We haven't moved on those.
They have not moved. They do exist.
And who put this on the agenda?
It was requested by Commissioner Angel.
Yeah. What are we doing here? I don't mind saying yes or no, but I need to understand where we are in this situation. Know this. I know that there's a concern, right, that if we don't act, I know that some folks are expecting, right, I would assume, Commissioner Masson, that there's some folks expecting us to outright do away with solar outside the growth zone. Utility. And if this moratorium expires and there's no legislation that's competing there, that's fixing that, that does technically open the door. If somebody's sitting there in the waiting room going, okay, let's move. You don't know that, but they could, right?
Right now, there is no moratorium in place. Unless this is adopted, it's retroactive. For all practical purposes, because PJM is no longer accepting new applications within their system. They've got a moratorium in place. There does not appear to be an additional push in the county for utility scale solar. If there's concern about moving some other amendments forward, certainly Commissioner Maston had been leading that effort. Happy to work with her to restart that if chosen.
An option to table this until,
You could continue the hearing should you wish.
and that would bring it up in 2 weeks? Whatever that is, all right. I don't know. I feel I'll do whatever, man. We don't have a full complement of commissioners, and the author of the request isn't here.
Hold on a second, Joanne.
I don't
Make
think
that-
you've opened the hearing yet, so I'm not sure you can continue it unless you open it.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yeah.
So just a real quick question of staff. So Sarah, if we voted tonight and voted no, what would happen to the moratorium that was currently in place? When does it stop?
Already has.
It already has, okay.
Expecting an amendment.
Okay, let's open the public hearing on ordinance LC 22-14, solar moratoriums revised. And I'll ask for anyone in the audience who's in favor of this to please come forward. Anyone in the audience in favor of this ordinance LC 22-14, please come forward. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed to ordinance LC 22-14, solar moratoriums revised, please come forward. Right. All right, any questions or comments from the commissioners?
Suggest that we, Commissioner Angel, who's been in tune with this, and fairness, we ought to have a full complement of commissioners and allow for Commissioner Angel to return in order for us to have a clear understanding of what we're doing. So if that's the case, what do you suggest, Commissioner Maston?
I make a motion that we table ordinance LC 22-14 for the solar moratorium.
Second.
Can we have a roll call, please, Laura?
Mr. Angel, absent. Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Howell, absent. Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper.
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 5 yeas, 2 absent.
Thank you. Ordinance LC 22-14 has been tabled. Close the public hearings, and we'll recess back to committee meetings. First item on the agenda is Planning Services Committee, Mr. Buxton, Griffith Lake Estate Subdivision.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is a fairly simple request. Griffith Lake Estate Subdivision is asking to be able to pay fee in lieu of providing active open space within their subdivision. The appraisal yields $11,500 to the county toward Parks and Recreation. The Parks Commission considered this at their meeting last week, voted in favor of it. So in short, rather than developing half an acre of open space within Griffith Lake, which is a relatively small subdivision, the developer is offering to provide the county with $11,500 toward our parks. Any questions?
Questions? Sounds like a pretty good deal. I wish we'd do more of this, you know? It would be neat if we could push this a little harder, but, yeah.
I do have a question. Mr. Pettinage, how big of a pool can we get for $11,000?
I think there might be a 4-foot above-ground pool available at Dover Pools that you might.
Comment, it's almost reverse engineering. And we've talked about it. The theory of lots of open space and developments, it looked good on paper, it did. You have to maintain it. And now the HOA, you have this massive open space that's costly to maintain that most people aren't using. They're not. It would be neat if you could figure out a way to somehow pull that money out, allow them to be built somehow. I don't know. There's a lot of them out there. But
did you really just say you guys?
Use guys. Oh, yeah. Well, by that time I'll be ghost. You guys will miss me. It is what it is. All righty. Show of hands. Show of hands. There you go. Thank you. Any public comments? Wait for it. Counselor? All right. I'll close that. Thank you.
Thank you. Reconvene this says committee meeting, but I believe it means business meeting. No old business, new business, potential action item from committee meetings. Mr. Buxton, right back to you.
Appreciate it, Mr. President. I make a motion that we approve Griffith Lakes or Lake Estate subdivisions cash in lieu of active recreation request.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Buxton, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any questions? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel? Absent. Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell? Absent. Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 5 yeas, 2 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals the motion to pass. Other business, item 1. I don't believe we have anything tonight, do we, Counselor? Okay. The next item is Levy Court. The next Levy Court meeting will be Tuesday, August the 9th, 2022 at 7 p.m. As you know, we are on our abbreviated schedule due to summertime. Any information items?
Mr. President, I've received a text from Public Works Director Diana Galt, and she wanted me to convey to you that one of our trash collection providers, Republic Services, have requested to begin service at 5 a.m. this Thursday and Friday, as opposed to their normal start of 6 a.m. And this affects mainly the 4th District and the 6th District. It's in the southern part of the county. So apparently they must have.
It's a one-time deal? I mean.
It just indicates in the text, and I didn't get to talk to Diana, but she said this Thursday and Friday. So assume it may be just due to a momentary backlog that they might have or something.
What's that, Glenn? Yeah, Glenn's good.
Folks in the 6th District are up, but my guys, nah, we sleep in. The question might be, right, is this just an abnormality, or is this something they're test running?
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Not the test.
I'm going to have to inquire with Diana. She didn't really indicate if it would be a prolonged thing. She just said Thursday and Friday. So I assume it's just this week, but.
So if I said no, what would that mean? They wouldn't pick it up at all?
Well, then it could cause delays in collection, I guess. They're probably doing it to get caught up. Maybe there's something that caused them to be a little bit off schedule. Could be equipment, could be personnel, could be a. The state fair has started, but I'm not sure. It could be some impact. I'm not sure. So.
Potentially the heat.
Beat the heat.
Yeah.
That could be. If that's the case, I would say we can do it.
Yeah, no reason was given other than,
But it's supposed to be near 100 on Friday, Thursday and Friday. So that might be a smart thing for them to do. And most people have their windows down with their air conditioners on anyhow, so they might miss it. Any other informational items?
I said something off the cuff that I actually was serious about, and that had to do with communication with the city of Wilmington, the potential to move the CR statue down here. I heard from some folks from the city of Dover who thought they liked the idea and wanted to possibly set up some kind of a discussion committee of sorts. I told them it wasn't worth it unless the city of Wilmington would entertain the thought. So we had to start there, but that I would support, looking into it. So I know Commissioner Hall jumped into it. There's nothing concrete. It's just a conversation stage right now. And, I won't be calling the papers. I won't be jumping ahead. But that's there. Second one, pool. Mentioned the pool. Cerebral palsy, the camp off of Midstate Road, right? They're closing. They're closing up. Yes, the organization is no longer going to operate down here, and that facility will be vacant. I was asked to attend or show up. They asked me to come by. I did. To see the operation. It's amazing. I don't know what they're going to do with the void that's there, because there's some of the kids that are there, whether it's 50 of them a day, 100 of them a day, whatever it is, they need that place. And it's going to be shuttered unless somebody fills the vacuum. I only say that because you could do two things. You could save that place, and you could cure your pool problem. You could, and you probably could get it for $1. I'm not saying you want to be in the business of running it, but if you are having that discussion, it'll be after I'm going, but it's an option. We'd look into it. So, all right, thanks.
Any other informational items? See none. Any public comments? Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll try to be brief. Only because we were going to enjoy another round of moratorium talk tonight, but we didn't. We crafted an ordinance, we passed an ordinance, then we passed a moratorium on part of the ordinance. I think we owe the residents of the county a firm final answer rather than just keep passing moratoriums and not coming to a final resolution. And I'll admit it's tough because there's so many different facets to this. And there's so many people that would be affected and so many, industrial size, companies that would want to come in and do this. But it's not impossible to solve, but I believe that we need to solve it. So I was going to vote no tonight on the moratorium. I'll vote no on the next time it comes up as a moratorium, because I think that we are passing moratoriums, but we're not working to solve the problem and come up with the final finished product that best serves the county and makes, as a compromise for us. So I didn't want the evening to pass. I didn't want to drag it out any more than necessary, but because it was on the agenda item tonight and then it got taken off, I couldn't let the moment pass. So thanks.
Any other commissioner comments? Okay, seeing none, need a motion to adjourn? Motion by Commissioner Madison, second by Commissioner Sweeney. All in favor, aye? Anybody opposed? We are adjourned.
It's 10:20.
I'll be down.
Oh, okay. I was trying to stop the recording.
No, right, yeah, I don't know how you do it. Listening to all this. Oh, at least I get to talk. It's gonna feel weird.